Hey everyone, welcome back to Themis and Thought. Grab your coffee, water, tea, Mike. Hey everyone, welcome back to Themis and Thought. Drop a one if you can hear me and a two if the mic is still bad. Drop a one if you can hear me and a two if the mic is bad. Grab your coffee, water, tea, whatever you're drinking. Go and get that. All right, ones. Go and get something comfy and warm and like cozy up so that we can like hang out together and watch a debate. Um, Note fair use. Apparently, YouTube has become really strict on its guidelines, its copyright infringement issues. Like they've been really going at it. Um, I got an email, and I browsed through it. My channel is fine. Everything is fine. There's no issues with my channel. I guess it was just notifying me of something. I don't know. I try to stay I interrupt videos a lot. So it's very difficult to get me caught up in in these copyright claims because someone said, okay, I usually pluck and like shave. I look unkept right now. It's definitely giving masculine. But what you won't see is here around here because I'm doing laser treatment and I will not have hair anywhere here. So anyway, after that, period. Anyway, it is what it everything looks things are looking. Anyway, I appreciate the concerns people have been checking in on me. People actually reached out to me to confirm that my channel was good. And I don't know why people did that. So there are people who reached out to me to ask if my channel was good, which prompted me to go into my channel analytics. And then I randomly checked my email, and there was an email from YouTube notifying me and I guess content creators. I don't know about what really, it's just like a random notification that they like upgrading system and checking things. I don't know. Um, in any case, thank you all for checking in on me. I really don't know what prompted y'all to do that. So I appreciate it. Y'all know more about YouTube than I do, so thank you. Reason why I was a bit late today. Oh, the reason I was a bit late today was I was looking for a comment before because I want us to go over a comment in the intro. So we're about to look through a comment. Separately, um, apparently a bunch of people have been getting unsubscribed. So if you are currently subscribed, just like randomly always come to my channel and check to see if you're still subscribed and resubscribe. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't know why that's happening. Like people have been in my comments telling me that they've been um unsubscribed randomly, and I don't know how to unsubscribe someone that have nothing to do with me. I don't know how to fix it. So YouTube might be a hater right now. Um, so just please check. On that video that we did with Shahrazad Ali, um, a young man came on that post. And, sir, if you are here, we don't have a lot of time, but I will make time for you. Um, so this man came on and he goes, oh, she got some of these folks butt hurt over the truth. So I was concerned. I usually don't respond to certain comments, but like there also there's also things that people will say that will intrigue, like pique my interest. So like I would be like, ah, why? So I said, to hit women in the mouth, you think we are hurt over the truth, and the truth you think is that we women should be hit in the mouth. Like I don't understand what this person was saying, right? So I ask, and this is the response, and I promise you I'm more confused now than I was in the beginning. He says, Themis and Thoth, I read the book as a young teeny back when it dropped. Read it plenty of times. Metaphor speaking is what she was this is what she was saying. I do not agree with everything in the book. Most people point to that part of the book and shut down the rest. So I'm trying to figure out what part of it is the metaphor. I don't know if he meant metaphorically speaking. I don't know what part of the book. I- the part where she says you can hit the woman in the mouth, but don't beat her to a bloody pulp. Just make sure if she doesn't respect you and submit to you, you will hit her in the mouth. I'm trying to figure out what part of that was the metaphor. like I'm, I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what part of that was the metaphor. Um, so obviously, I'm very interested now. Very, very interested. So I responded and I said, "Are you available today to discuss it live?" I was actually I was really tired, but I was gonna make time for him. Um, so I asked if he was available to discuss it live. He then says, sure can if I'm not stuck at the shipper by that time. So I said, when will you be free? We can do it later tonight. What time are you free? Um, and let's just say he never got back to me. But I wanted so badly to discuss more than anything I wanted to discuss the metaphor. I wanted, I wanted to discuss what part of it was the metaphor. Unfortunately, we did not get to figure out the metaphor. Um, I don't know what a shipper is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing shipper correctly. Is shipper an American thing? Look, I have no clue what any of this is. So him being at the shipper sounds like a British slang for something that I don't know what it is. So anywho, let's get into this video. Um, Similarly speaking, all but y'all run and go get something, a hot cocoa, some hot chocolate, whatever you're drinking. Go and get that so we can like cozy up. Y'all are at my place right now, my loft, and we're cozying up and we're gonna watch this together. And it will be paused a lot, i.e., fair use guidelines. This is under the fair use guidelines. So let's do it. Not my chest, though. Period. Let me stop. I'll see you guys on the other side of this foolishness. Let's do it. Okay, let's get into it. Yep, like Doja Cat says, get into it. Yep. Why am I excited? I don't actually know why I'm like this. Like maybe because I just had too much food. I had too much food. I'm in my like happy place right now. Oh, and also the compliments. Also the compliments. Those help. All right, let's get into it. Oh, let's see if we can buy. Remember, we're supposed to buy his card games. Let's look at the card games. 40 dollars. Ooh, that's a lot. That is absolutely not. Ah. So I wanted to buy the card game so we could play together. I just $39 for some card game is wild. Like, mm, 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 mm. Let's look at some of these questions. Sorry. What part of your body do you feel the sexiest about and why? My lips because period. Ah, I think my favorite thing, like I guess we shouldn't be talking about. I think my favorite thing on my body is my lips. Visibly. What do you love about yourself and why? I think I'm a kind person. If you could relive any day from your past, which day would it be and why? I don't know the day. If I could relive any day from my past, which day would it be and why? Ah, I think my best memory is like when I just got to the US, it snowed and we stayed home. So it was me and my brother and my mom and my dad. Um, and we stayed home and we built like pillow fort and we just watched TV and ate. And like it was fort. We had like pillow forts and ate and drank a bunch of coffee, which we had no business drinking as a child. That I don't know. That's the only thing coming to my mind. I don't know, girl. Um, if you could go anywhere in the world with your partner, where and why would you? That would be Japan, probably. I don't know. All right, these I'm not paying $40 for the. I'm not paying $40 for these. Like, imagine being on a date and pull because apparently you need to pull these out on your date and then like go back and forth, asking questions. No, I'm good. I'm good. Now, what template did they borrow? Like, this is just a right. Like, I don't know. Hopefully, maybe these are better questions. I don't know. Someone said they would go to Paris. Paris is not as romantic. Paris is not as romantic. Um, it smells. It feels like. Let me stop. Anyway, let's move on. I'm very disappointed. I wanted to buy the card so we can play the game together, but I don't. Drop a one if I should buy it still for $40 and a two if I would. I'm like let that go. So drop a one if I should buy it for $40. I can't. I don't think I should. I don't think I should. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. Don't vote. Don't vote. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting it. That's wild. It's the same thing. The book about how I stopped child support is $50, which is like a pamphlet. And I wanted us to review that book from that black guy talking about how I stopped child support. But I saw it for $50 and it's like a pamphlet. I'm gonna go find his interview on the book and we'll review that because I'm not buying his book for $50. I'm not doing that because he didn't even know what he was talking about. All right, so let's get into this. So this is a debate on apparently masculinity. They're debating masculinity because what the world needs right now, what the world needs right now is for black men to be debating masculinity. That's what we should be debating. Um, I've watched most of this already, and this is a rewatch with you all. So let me get my Cersei tea. Fair use, fair use. I feel like I should say it 3 times for Dr. Umar's sake. Fair use. So let's watch this debate together.
And it's going down. I'm turned up, man. That energy that we got on Monday was so amazing.
By the way, I'm going to be grading all of these people. At the end of this, I'm going to let you know who the winner is. The debate is going to be in the world of its own. While we will be talking and disagreeing and agreeing, whatever we do, that's fine. But based on their performance in this, I'm going to grade them and I'm going to let you know who won. I already know who I thought won, and it's unfortunate, but let's get into it.
And we just got to duplicate it today. It's got to be on point.
Absolutely, man. We had incredible energy on the last show, man. We had Willie Moe and Lateris up in the studio. It was absolutely dope. And this, let me tell y'all, if y'all up in here today for this show is going to be no less than the last show. And I want to let y'all know what inspired this joint here, by the way, because there's been a lot of talk about men in general and some of the issues we have. And you hear women saying that men just ain't who they used to be. They ain't as strong as they was, whatever the case might be. You even got, on the other end of the spectrum, a lot of even men not satisfied with the current state of men, manhood, and masculinity. Whether we calling them simps, betas, or whatever the case is, we obviously having some issues with the current state of manhood and masculinity. So the culture has inspired us to bring these three brothers here to the table so we can have a conversation addressing it all. And I'm very excited about what's going down here today. But before we go ahead and get into it, first, I want you guys to understand how this is going to roll and how this is going to move. I got three gentlemen here that all have very unique perspectives. I'm very excited about these brothers.
Me too, man.
Okay, let's just say he's nervous. We're just going to go with he's nervous. As a moderator, as an announcer, I'm just going to go ahead and say he's nervous. These people are probably celebrities in his eyes. Because I don't know what that was, but period.
Yeah, me too.
That we have coming up here, very unique perspectives and very well respected in their own spaces. And we bringing them here hardly initiated to have a conversation today. But before we get into the conversation, let's go ahead and show some love here, man, to the episode sponsor.
Absolutely, man. Compliments to the chef, by the way. Harley and Love Dating Cars. And y'all hear from me all the time telling y'all to get these cars. But I actually got an incredible love story where the guy really stepped up in his masculine on this one.
Oh, well,
pull that photo up. Pull that photo up real quick. He
did.
So guys, this is actually one of our lovely initiates, Danielle. Okay, this is Danielle. She's beautiful. Now, for the past few, shout out to Danielle. For the past few months, Danielle has actually been in a long distance relationship with this guy, Brent. Okay. Now, this thing, they literally live in two different parts of the country, right? Literally East Coast, West Coast. Okay. Now, I want to tell you how smooth this guy Brent is. Okay. So he knew that she loved the show.
Yeah.
He knew that she loved the car. So what he did was he actually had the cars ready to go when they linked up. And this is the thing, guys. Long story short, the cars did their job.
Imagine going out to date with someone and they pulled out some cards on the date at the restaurant to go through questions with you. I would be highly disturbed. So you don't have questions you want to ask me? You don't know how to engage in discourse around who I am and who you are? You're going to have to go to a bunch of cards to get. And the thing is, I'm not opposed to even using like a crutch, right, to like figure this out. But like on the first date, like at a restaurant, like immediately, absolutely not. It tells me you're boring, you're probably socially awkward, and maybe after we get to know each other, we'll become more comfortable and be able to engage that way. I won't get to that point. I will get to that point because as soon as you pull out some cards as a crutch for a conversation, I'm just gonna assume you can't hold a conversation. And my biggest thing is intellect, and I love to talk to people and learn about people and engage with people. Girl, do I have a ghost? Anyway, so By the way, also that's something weird. I'm not afraid of ghosts. Like I don't believe in ghosts, by the way, but like I'll hear things move and things happening, and I'm like, okay, girl, and what about it? In the middle of the night, 3 o'clock, I wake up, go downstairs to make sure things weren't moving. Light turned on, I just turn it off back and go back to bed. Because what I'm not about to do is run from you in my own house. Absolutely not.
They had an amazing time, and the long distance turned into a straight vacation. Look at this photo right here. We cannot make this up.
Oh, wow.
We cannot make this up.
I love that.
So this is what I'm saying, guys. Whether you want to get to know your partner better, whether you
Well, I guess if you like it, I love it. Period.
want to get to know your date better, or you want to spend some time connecting with friends over game night, the Hardly in Love dating cards, they do the trick.
Hey.
This is real. This is a real testimony.
Brent is a true
slayer.
All right.
First
Big shout out to Brent.
You already know. He really stepped up. Yo, Brent. First off, Brent need to send us the photos. I'm sure he turned up.
No, that's dope, man. Hey, shout out to Brent and Danielle. Big shout out and shout out to the brothers on here for this conversation. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce him now because we got a brother here that already crashed the party once. He came in, kicked the door, guns blazing on the episode he wasn't even damn invited to. We had Yada on the show talking 50-50.
So they got a testimonial, i.e., the person went on the date, took a picture of their card on the date at the restaurant, took a picture of them holding the card, took a picture of them and the person they are with together holding the card and send it to them. How convenient for how how convenient, girl, period. I say she lying. I'm not saying they're lying, but a girl purr. Sell them cards.
The Anton wasn't having it. All right, came in, told us his thoughts, and as y'all know, this brother here is not only just a YouTuber but a men's advocate and has been making waves on the internet for quite some times with his perspectives. And I'm excited to have you here join us for this conversation. Welcome to the conversation, my brother.
I'm excited to be here. I appreciate
sure.
you guys for bringing me on the platform. I love what you guys is doing.
Absolutely, man. Listen, this set you got is immaculate.
Yeah,
You got some set design tips or something.
I'm in the studio. This is my studio in Detroit, so.
Let's do it. Look, glad to have you. I want to get to my next brother here because my next brother here has been on the show probably, maybe about 2 times. I mean, this brother here is incredible. His rap sheet as far as working with men, being in the trenches with men, and he's been a men's coach now for probably even over a decade. And in many ways, he's been coaching even men that's even closest to myself. Also a husband. I missed that with my man Anton. Anton is also a husband. This brother here is also a husband, which I think adds to the perspective and the layer that the layers that they can get to in conversation. But big shout out to my guy here. We got Coach Crump on the set here with us. Welcome, Coach Crump.
Hey, what's up, fam? Appreciate you, man. Excited to be a part of this.
Coach, welcome back. What is this, like the 4th time?
Is it, Coach Crump?
I think it's number 5. man. I'm pulling up
five.
the
Number
beat.
5.
Number 5. I sold him 1 short. Incredible.
Wow, that is incredible.
I think he just re-broke the record because I think Tim was at
Probably
4
so.
or something, 5 or something like that.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
But welcome back, Coach.
Yeah.
Glad to have
Thanks
you.
for having
Have a
me,
great
brother.
conversation. Okay.
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's get it. And last but not least, we got a brother who has a powerful voice. This brother here is not only, a brother here, but let me tell you, when I hear him talk, he just.
He doesn't. So he know the coach, he know the guy with the beard and the hat, but he don't know the last person. He does not know the last. God, y'all don't even have like a name card or something. Y'all didn't even have like a name card or something. Y'all could have had them send in a small bio. Oh my God.
Just got one of those passionate deliveries that you can't help but stop and listen. And he too has been in the trenches, in the street. He's a therapist working with our Black men and women here for quite some time. And today he's going to give us his perspective on the state of masculinity. We got Professor Odie in the building. What's popping with you, Odie?
Good people, great people, guys. People.
Doing well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Welcome to the show, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing the best I can for the second man, brother. About yourself?
Hey, I'm just ready to get into the conversation because I feel like the perspectives are going to be interesting to say the least. So I'm ready.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you, brothers, all of you brothers, for being here today. We're going to go through just 2 rounds today, fellas, because we don't need much, because we're going to go deep. We're not going wide today. We're going deep because, as you know, based upon how our...
What is a men's advocate exactly? Okay, so men have been oppressed historically in America by the system, women. And so men need advocates to advocate for them and them being oppressed. Yeah. So
culture depicts it. And I would say too, even speaking personally, I think there's an issue right now going on with masculinity. And I want to get some clarity from all of you brothers here. And I want to start with, where we going to start on this one, fellas? Let's actually pop it off like this. Because obviously, hardly initiated, we really try to put people on game to have healthy long-term relationships. In essence, you can, pretty much wrap that into the mission of the platform, because that's obviously a big part as culturally what we're struggling with, but also what many of us want. So I want to start here by asking the average man, do you feel like he is like literally equipped to be able to sustain a loving and long-term relationship with a woman? And Anton, let's start with you, brother.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The average man? No, I don't even think that the above average man is equipped to sustain a long-term loving relationship with a woman. And I think that largely that begins with the idea of people don't even know. First of all, I don't believe in relationships. Either you're married or you're single.
Wow.
There is no in between. You're not in high school. I'm not going to sit here and play.
I don't. Sorry. I don't believe in a relationship. Either you're married or you're single. So is marriage not a relationship? What do you mean? I don't believe it. Is relationship like Santa Claus? Like, all right. It's gonna be dreadful, ain't it? It's gonna be real dreadful. It's gonna be real dreadful. And I did watch it already, but I sped it up.
Games and mince words and speak to your feelings and how you feel and all of that. I don't believe in relationships. I believe either you're single or you're married. And I think that one of the problems within our culture is that we keep substantiating and justifying people's bad behavior and their feelings. To answer your question, though, specifically, I don't think that most people even understand what the meaning of marriage is. I don't think that most people understand how to vet for the woman that they need to be with long term. I think that most people are spending time, especially.
Do you believe men have the capacity now to maintain a relationship? I don't believe in a relationship. Either you're married or you're single. Okay, next question. Like there is there's no further, like, what is it? Like, there's nothing more to ask. In the context of a debate, this, by the way, would have been done. What do you mean? Okay, do you believe men... average men, so all of y'all on the screen right now, have the capacity to maintain a relationship? No? Yes? Okay, you don't believe in relationships. Got it. So let's move on. Like, what do you mean? Oh my God.
Men, they spend a majority of their time vetting for a woman based off of where they are. And then when you hear women speak about don't date based off of potential, that's all you have to go by, right? Because most people that should be married younger. By the time that you get older, it's very difficult for you to be able to vet effectively, because most people have trauma that they're dealing with from previous partners and previous people that they spent their time with, right? Previous people that they slept with. So it's very difficult for people to really know what it means to be in a loving marriage. I'm not going to say relationship, marriage long term, because you're not even the same person that you are when you first get married, right? When you say long term, I say forever. I don't believe that, you know, you should break up the family. And so when we saying forever, you a different person at 20 than you are at 30.
What am I gonna do with this? You don't believe in relationship, either you're married or you're single. You don't believe people are equipped currently to be married, but you want people to marry when they're younger because when they're older, they've been through too much trauma. So trauma and having gone through trauma means you shouldn't get married. You're not marriage material. Like, okay, so people, we're going to ignore the stats that the younger you get married, the more likely you are to end up in divorce. But you should marry people based on potential because you should marry younger. Stay with them while y'all are younger. And you should never get divorced because he doesn't believe in breaking up the family. But like if there is abuse, if there are issues, cheating, like, and not just the men cheating on the women cheating and abusing the men too. There should, like, you don't believe in to be fair, in America, I think I've picked up on when people say I don't believe in, they mean it shouldn't happen, not that they don't believe it exists, right? So the language there I had to adapt to. But even still, this is just like a very rigid stance for no reason. There's no reason to have such a rigid stance right here. When the question is, do you think men today can sustain a relationship? Yes, they can. No, they cannot. Why? Why not? Like, all of this is like doing nothing. So, whatever. Oh my God, this is so annoying. Word solid, yummy, period. All right, let's continue. I'm just going to ignore everything he's saying from now on for this question.
30. You a different person at 40 than you are at 30. You a different person at 50 than you are at 30, right? So to sustain it takes a lot more than just love, right? Marriage is also a business. It's an emotional connection. It's a lot more than just love.
And Antoine, I want to interrupt you real quick because I want to get a general idea. Do you think that marriage for men, marriage should be the ultimate goal?
No, absolutely not. Your goal as a man is to live in your purpose. And any man that places a woman before his purpose is absolutely 100% out of their mind, to be honest with you. You should never, ever place a woman before your purpose under no circumstances. And your purpose is never a woman, ever.
Okay. So going back now, moving forward with, I actually want to get your perspective, Odie, on this one. What's your thoughts on that? And did you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, sir, please.
Got it. So is the average man equipped to sustain a long-term relationship with a woman?
All right. Is the average man equipped to sustain a long-term relationship with a woman? Whatever. We'll get to the question and Odie's answer. Onto the one with the hat and the beard said that the purpose is never a woman. A man's purpose is never a woman. I feel like the very next question I would ask is, and maybe they're not, no, I already know the answer. They're going to talk about women. So you could have asked, and the very next question would have been, should a woman's purpose be a man? I would have asked that just to see where his head is at.
I don't believe so. I definitely don't believe so. I believe that a number of men lack the emotional intelligence and emotional regulation skills to sustain a long-term relationship or a long-term marriage. As Anton said, they don't have clarity of purpose. They don't have clarity of self. They don't understand how it is to navigate through particular, I guess you could say, emotional landscapes. They don't understand how it is to communicate. They don't understand how it is to appropriately engage in particular types of vulnerability. They don't recognize how to respect themselves and neither the people around them. So I do not believe that the average man, once again, is prepared for a long-term relationship.
Got you. Coach Crump, where you at on that one?
Yeah, man.
Is the average man equipped? So the way I interpret that question is very different. I think the average man is equipped. Whether or not he will is something different. I don't think that. So I think there's a difference here. And I could be wrong here. I don't mind being wrong. I do actually think a lot of people are able to, they know what to do, and they can if they so choose. They're choosing not to. That's what I mean, equipped, whether or not you're equipped to do something is very different than whether or not you are doing the thing. And so I do actually believe the average man of average intelligence is equipped to be with a woman and maintain that a heterosexual relationship. I believe they are equipped. Do I believe they're going to do it? Separate question. Are they doing it? Separate question.
I would honestly say no man is prepared for equipped to sustain a long term relationship with a woman. And when I'm saying that, you may have skills and experiences like shout out to Antoine about talking about the things that we need and also being black and white about single and married. I love that and I agree. But I think the understanding is like no man is really equipped. I mean, I thought I had swag. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I did what my mama said. I did what the church said. I did what my daddy said. When I got married, man, that was a whole nother world. So I had to read books. I had to get mentors. And I would consider myself, and socially, from a contextual perspective, I wasn't an average man, but I was not equipped. But I had the desire, I had the commitment, I had the willingness. And on top of, even if I had the skills, even if I did already read those books, even if I already had a mentor and I was older, my wife is evolving. She's developing. Her needs is changing. So I would still have to get more equipped to handle the woman who I had when she was 22 compared to my wife now who's 43. I had to learn a whole nother set of skills because the dynamics is different. Her energy is different. Our goals is different. The kids are teenagers. It's just so many things. I'm still at 41, still learning different aspects. Okay, now I got to make a pivot here. Now I got to make a pivot there. But if you're not in the trenches working that out, I'm grateful to be doing it for 20 plus years with her. But I've learned so much even coming in as a above average man. I don't think no man has equipped with all the skills to sustain a long-term marriage with a woman. But if you're committed, you can learn it over time.
All right. They all got an F in this assignment. Here's why. First of all, if you ask me, is the average man equipped to sustain a long-term relationship? First, you need to define what the average man is, which I won't fight you on. Just give me some random definition. What do you mean by long-term? In terms of relationship, whatever. The equipped part, you now need to explain. What does it take to sustain a long term relationship? And then you need to tell me if the people, average men, have that which you articulate. You don't get to say, oh, they don't have what it takes. No, what does it take? You first need to let me know what it means to sustain a long-term relationship. What equipments do I need? What do I need in my arsenal when I go into whatever this battlefield is? Treating relationship as war. No, you need to explain some of that. You can't just say, oh, no, they don't. Yes, they do. Do what? And so for me, if we're thinking, if you and I are having this conversation, we don't have to go in depth. But because this is a debate and we have a coach, a therapist, and a man with a beard and a hat, if you are going to sit there and y'all are going to have a debate about this, I'm gonna need y'all to bring forth some understanding. Like, I need you to like explain what it takes to maintain a relationship. And what you cannot do is say it's individualized, which probably and most likely is the right answer. That each woman and man, their needs are very different. The relationship is very different. So, what it takes to maintain a long term relationship is so varied that to put a statement out there like, no, the average man isn't able to maintain it feels wild unless you're going to make a standard for what it takes to maintain a relationship. Define that standard and then let us know if the average man can meet it or not. So none of this makes sense to me. You're welcome. This is a debate tutorial 101. This is free. So the question is useless, not because the people asking the question is useless, which they probably are, but the men in their response does not clarify anything at all. One person say they don't believe in relationship, but go on to answer it in terms of a marriage. Okay, fine. And the other two, I don't know what they were doing. So let's get it. Let's get into it. Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much everybody on the panel, agrees that men are not really equipped
to sustain a long-term relationship.
Exactly. So now, I mean, we got to get into some of the solutions, try to figure this thing out. I mean, Odie, let me ask you this, because you're saying, everybody's agreeing that the men are not prepared. Where's the first place a men, or the first thing a man should take into consideration if he's looking to put himself in a position for a long-term relationship?
Honestly, I would say how it is that he perceives women and how it is that he engages with women. So there are a number of men who treat women as objects and places of transaction instead of individuals and entities where you can learn and engage with and engage from. That's the first place. I also feel like another place is your own trauma as a man and what it is and how it is that you come to learn what relationships and what love look like, right? Do you understand love as a place where you just give, and you don't receive anything in return? Are you unjustified in what it is that you ask for? Do you recognize what it means to be a person who knows what he wants and how it is to ask for it, what his boundaries are when somebody crosses your boundaries? How do you communicate that? It's something that is necessary for men to recognize from the place of, one, once again, how have you learned and what have you learned about women, but also two, how have you learned and what have you learned about yourself, not only just in spaces of healing, but in spaces of trauma.
Okay, so
I want to give him a cough drop. He's coming from a psychological perspective here. Get to know yourself first, and then get to know the other person and figure it out. I'm going to assume that's what he's saying. He was the only one also in the initial question who said that men weren't, because they weren't emotionally aware, which makes emotional awareness something that is needed to sustain a long-term relationship. So in truth, he did not directly, but express an idea that is necessary in the beginning. So half a point for him. But I need to give him a cough drop real quick. I don't know. Maybe he likes how he sounds like, I can't talk like this. I would die. Sorry. It's giving masculine. It's deep voice. What do you mean?
With that in mind, and I want to open this up to the floor. This is, Chris and Anton included, with men, may not be in the understanding of how to engage with women. So Anton, Coach Crump, Odie, would you guys think that it would make sense, it's in the man's best interest to self-identify himself as a leader and take that same mindset into his relationship? Should a man assume that, hey, in the healthiest relationship, I should be in charge, so to speak, I should lead the relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. But see, here you're skipping a step. The first step is being able to identify what a wife is, because you can't conflate the two. One of the things that's wrong with society today is that they putting, and I hate to be frank about this, they putting a hoe and a housewife in the same sentence. I mean, we got a lot of people, and the pool is really, really muddy. There's a lot of piss in the pool. And we got women that's saying that you should be a a stepfather, right? I don't believe in it. I don't believe in taking care of another man's kids. I wouldn't.
Y'all, the question is, should the man assume he's the leader and take that into the relationship? Where is stepfather coming from? Y'all, yeah. Right. Yo, this makes no sense. This response, sorry, calm down. By the way, I truly, truly love debating. Truly love it. Regardless of like what people are debating, I like the mechanics of debate. So I get excited and I'm calming myself down. However, the question is, boil it down, is, y'all, should a man be the leader in a relationship? Right? Should a men shouldn't be stepfathers. These kinds of women and that kind of women, and y'all conflating the two kinds of women. Girl, that's a lot. That's a lot. That was not the question. That was not even close to. The question was, should the man be the leader in a relationship? As much as I hate the question, like you can still answer no. So like for me, I could answer the question, well, it depends. The leader in what avenue? When you say leader, it cannot be sort of de facto. It depends on what is being argued. So if I am better at finance and the other person is better at cooking, the other person is better at financial aid for the children, the other person is more organized, the other person is better, like leader in what way? Like just the overall leader, I don't believe that exists, right? So like I don't understand fully in any meaningful way how you are going to ask a question about who should the man be the leader? Should the man be the leader? Fine. Terrible question. I don't care. He's gonna come and say, y'all conflating these two kinds of women and men shouldn't be stepfathers. God, when are you gonna answer this question though? When are you going to answer this question? How did stepfathers? I don't know how you started talking about stepfathers. I honestly do not know how you started talking about stepfathers. So this man with the hat and the beard and the glasses is at -5 points.
Never advocate for a man that doesn't have kids, that's at the top of his game, to go and be a stepfather and then put himself in a position to have somebody else call him daddy when the person that she should have married is the person that she opened up her legs to. And so we skipping steps. We talking about the man a lot of times, but in reality, we keep forgetting that women got options too. And then they say that they want a partner. They don't say that they want a husband.
Y'all, I have to remind you, the question is, should the man be the leader in the relationship? Wait, the question is, should the man be, I don't care what you believe. Believe in patriarchy, believe in the Bible, believe whatever you want to believe. I don't actually care. And I don't care about the stats or anything. We're looking at this in the context of a debate. The prompt, the question, what you're posed with right now, fundamentally right now, is should the man be a leader? You get to be toxic here. You can say men, by virtue of being men, based on the Bible, should be the leader. No, men shouldn't be the leader. Women should be the leader because Lilith. Or you could say there is no leader. An egalitarian approach to relationship is the most successful kind of relationship statistically. You can do any of that, like any of that. How did you get to stepfather? I'm trying to figure out how you got to stepfathers and this kind of women versus that kind of women, and women have a responsibility, and sometimes it's the woman's fault. Okay, yeah. All that's cute. But the question right now in this debate that you're having, it says debate. At the top, it says debate, state of masculinity. So this is a debate. How are you not going to answer the question at all? You're just not going to answer. God.
See what I'm saying? So you got to recondition the person that you're going to deal with, and you got to make sure that y'all equally yoked before you even start talking about leadership, because by default, men are leaders. They are leaders. And so we like to conflate that, and we like to say that a man is not a leader, or what does he have to do in order to put himself in a position to lead, but we skipping steps.
Okay, that pause was pure confusion because okay, so he finally answered the question that the man is a leader. Men, let me note this. Anton says men are leaders by virtue of being men. Absolutely not. Statistically, this is not true. This is not real. This don't make no sense. I'm just gonna say absolutely. I'm gonna go ahead and say absolutely not, but he's not even answering. Is that FD? People have been trolling as FD account. He said let's debate the value of debate. Oh, here. I would love if y'all love Odie. LOL. Please show him love if y'all got it. Well, we'll see where it goes. We'll see. I don't know if that's FD, by the way, because it doesn't show up. Let me check.
See,
Yeah.
well, wait, go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Cole.
yeah. I'm going to go to a different perspective too on skipping steps. I'm gonna take a different angle though. I don't see how you do any of this without God, man. I ain't gonna hold you. Like a man has to first be in one accord with the higher calling on his life, and he has to be committed to that because your relationship with your wife is a representation with your relationship with God. So if you're not even committed to God and you're not even understanding the qualities and the attributes that you're going to need as a man to serve the God, you're not going to be able to take care of his daughter because that commitment. I'll tell you all the time when we talk about capability, we talk about equipment, we talk about what she wants and what he wants. Do you have a committed spirit in what you do? Because if you always analyzing and looking for a way to get on and get off and do you and get yours, then it's always going to be a reason for that. It's always going to be an option for that. But if you like, man, for God I live and for God I die, it's easier for you to process to take that on with your wife. You know what I mean? So for me,
so are none of these men going to answer the question? Like the coach person just came and talked about God, blah blah blah. I'm assuming he believes men are the leaders because of how heavily he leaned into Christianity there. You serve God, she serve you, and only one of y'all is left cleaning the toilet. Nova video. I go, period. Let's hear what Professor has to say.
let's say that first. Yeah.
So let me
see. I agree with that, but then at the same time, that is a part of your purpose. You see what I'm saying? In the very beginning of this conversation, and I said that a man needs to make sure that he's on his purpose, and that's not just related to money. That's not just related to your career. That's not just related to your kid.
Someone said they don't know what's happening. The question is, should the man lead the relationship? That's it. Should the man lead the relationship? That's simply it.
I agree with him because, in my opinion, the way that you show you love God is to show that you love the people that he put in front of you. So, that's the additional context to it. But then in addition to that, my purpose and my calling comes from God. I like to call myself what you would call a benevolent dictator, right? Meaning that I'm very passionate and I want to see who you are. And my job is to unleash you and put you in the best position possible. But at the same time, I answer to God. I don't answer to people. I don't answer to you. I don't answer to the children. It's a hierarchy. And so I think that part of being a leader is understanding your purpose and living in that masculinity, understanding what the hierarchy is, instead of aligning yourself based off of whatever it is that we remix.
So I use the phrase benevolent dictator as a joke. As a joke. A dictator, by definition, right, is a person who takes power by force. That is not benevolent by its very nature. The fact that you gonna put, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm not. He's not been responsive. This is the best he's come to responding, that he is a dictator. Got it.
And what a relationship is today.
Calling yourself a benevolent dictator doesn't actually answer the question. You're saying you lead your family, you control and dictate what happens in your family, but you're a benevolent one. Got it. I said, if you have a dictator, make sure it's the benevolent one. This is a joke, mind you. However, let's give him dictator. He's a dictator in his family. He leads his family. Great, great, great. The question is, should men be leaders in their family? So are you extrapolating from your experience as a dictator, not a taker, that men should behave this way?
I want to take a different approach to that.
Odie, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take this one, and we're gonna move into the next the follow-up topic. But go ahead.
I got you. So this whole idea of, once again, submitting to God or being within your purpose, all of those things, or you're talking about self-leadership. You're talking about leading the self. right? So I disagree with the whole idea that a man is naturally a leader if he does not know how to lead himself. There is no natural state of leadership if you are unwilling or incapable of engaging with this purpose or engaging with this self-direction. So how can you engage with your community, or how can you engage with your wife, how can you engage with your children if you as an individual are not submitting to your purpose, submitting to God, you're way. So this idea that we have to externalize what a man needs, like, no. If you are not able to see within yourself and have the self-reflection and integrity to lead yourself, then nobody else will be willing to follow you. So I don't agree with this whole idea of, oh, there's a hierarchy. Like, no. The reality of the situation is, if you are one within yourself and you have the ability to self-reflect, and then you have the ability to lead from that angle, you don't have to be anything other than yourself. People will follow you.
No, that's not true. Absolutely not. Because leaders are groomed. And so you can be ordained to be a leader, and then at the same time, understand or continue to be groomed with the skill set of what it takes in order to be great in certain environments. No man knows how to be a father until he's a father. But at the same time, there's a blueprint. That's why it's called the word. And the word gives you the blueprint.
You don't have to wonder. I wonder if Themis consider his father as the leader of his family. Absolutely not. I do not consider my father the leader of my family. I am the leader of my family. No, I think you're talking about my mom and my dad. No, my mom leads herself. My dad lead My dad lead himself. When they came together, they were both fully agentic creatures that made decisions collectively. They made there was no leader. No, my mom or dad would never come up and say, "Oh, I was the leader of this family." Girl, what? If we don't sit somewhere with that foolish, "Oh my God, who is the leader?" If we don't know who is the leader, how are we gonna operate? We're gonna sit somewhere. Is God only talking to men? Do they think God don't talk to women? They're so clueless and hateful. They are. No, people think it's a gotcha. Like, oh my God, did your mom, was she not submit to what, girl?
To do a whole lot of self-reflection. I can operate based off of the blueprint. And then as I continue to grow, the revelations of what the word is revealed to me based off of wherever it is that I am in my life. So I don't have to sit here and go through a whole lot of self-reflection in order to understand what a leader is. You are born a leader as a man. Now you need to step into your purpose. That's the reason why you got fathers. That's the reason why you got a community. That's the reason why you're supposed to be involved in the church. And then a lot of times men need to suffer, right? You don't just, no man becomes who he truly is without really suffering, right? And that comes without a woman.
That sentence might sound good to y'all, but that is a dumb statement. It is a dumb statement, not because men don't have to suffer, but by virtue of being human on earth, you are going to suffer. Some people suffer more than others, but everyone at some point suffers. We all suffer. We all suffer, men and women alike. You don't get to adulthood without some suffering. You don't. Sorry. You're going to suffer. And if you're a woman who goes through puberty, you're probably going to suffer a lot, unfortunately. I mean, you're going to suffer prior, but as like a natural progression, there's like suffering, consistent suffering for all humanity. There's a theory that we're in hell because of how much we suffer as humankind. You think you think these natural disasters only affect men? You think these global disasters and catastrophes and the pandemic only affects men? You think 9/11, you think that only affected men? You think when people were afraid during the Cold War psychologically, that only affected men? Living in this world means you are going to suffer. Point blank, period. Men have to suffer before they can step into their manhood. I guess women have to suffer to step into their womanhood too, girl. we are suffering. You think people love working, girl? Y'all think this inflation only affecting men? Y'all think inflation only Y'all think inflation only affecting men? Men have to suffer before they can step into. Let me stop. So you think women just meditated and they're in nirvana? They've already made it to nirvana by virtue of being women. They've reached enlightenment and therefore no attachment to earthly things, thus no suffering. That don't make no sense. It makes no sense. If you sit here and you listen and you're like, yeah, men have to suffer. Yes, that's true, but you ignore women also have to suffer. We are kids suffering, old people suffering, young people suffering, dogs suffering, cats suffering, animals. Literally, we are going through a global crisis around climate, right? And food shortage in certain places, and you just sitting here talking about men have to suffer. That's what makes them men. Girl, everybody's suffering.
Before a woman even comes into your face. That's before you ever have children, right? And I'm not talking about self-inflicted wounds. I'm talking about failing in a controlled environment to understand what greatness looks like, right? I'm talking about being able to endure long enough when your family is dependent on you, when everything is fumbling, right? Because it's not just about getting rich. It's not just about having money. It's not just about therapy and self-reflection. A lot of times, even therapy itself can be a scam because a lot of people depend on therapy in order to keep them on that IV. They're not looking to solve for and then solution for where it is that they're supposed to be, which is why you need to be seeking your purpose. And then she gets up under you from a submission perspective because she then becomes the beneficiary of your greatness.
Wait. So the man before he meets the woman has to suffer and to protect the woman under him. Cause what are you talking about? If you say, by the way, this is a completely anti-therapist ad, so we're gonna ignore the whole anti-therapy thing because apparently, like, going to therapy is putting you on life support, and that is bad. That because who knew? For the person who needs life support to survive, all you have to do is unplug them from life support or IV. Who needs IV? Girl, y'all didn't know that all you had to do was unplug. All you gotta do was unplug. Anywho, ignore the anti-therapist talk, and let's get into the foolishness. So before a man becomes a man and find his purpose and protect women, he has to go through a bunch of pain. Yeah, good for you and everyone else, sir. You and everyone else. You, your mama, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, your grandmother, your daughter, all of them. They're going to go through some things. It's called life. You're not special. Or you are special because of the kind of pain you are going through individually, not as a group of men, not as a group of women, just individually.
I don't have to negotiate with my greatness in order to understand that I'm a leader. A leader is born, and most men are born to be leaders. That's why God built us the way that we are. And so by the time that
if you say most men are born to be leaders, you cannot say men by virtue of being men are leaders. You can't. Because some men, and you can say they're the exception, you can do that, and we can debate back and forth on this, because I will argue that most men aren't leaders. I would further argue that most people aren't leaders. So you run into a problem of dictating leadership by gender. You run into a very, very specific problem. Men aren't by virtue of being men leaders. In fact, most people aren't leaders. So now you have a problem.
you then get the grooming and the understanding and the suffering and the lessons that ultimately make you who you're supposed to be to lead your family, that is the blueprint, and that's laid out in the Word of God itself.
May I rebut?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So you said two things. You said grooming and you said understanding. Grooming is you being taught. Understanding is you having to reflect on what it is that you have been taught in order to internalize it for yourself. So what you just said was somebody has to be groomed and they have to understand. They have to go through a particular level of suffering. If you are being groomed, that means you were not born this way. You were molded. You were taught. Somebody engaged with you in a particular way so that you could come up into this space. If men were born leaders, that means that they would not have to be groomed. They would not have to go through any suffering. They would just come out that way. So no, I disagree.
And you're wrong.
Wait. I want to be clear. I want to make sure. Wrong. Wait, hold tight, Anton, because I want to make sure. So Odie, so a relationship with a man and woman. Mm-hmm. I just want to be very clear. Are you saying that the man is not an automatic situation? The man is not the leader, or should not be even looking to be the leader in the relationship? I'm just trying to get some clarity.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the man is not automatically a leader simply because he's a man. That's foolish.
Now, let me ask you this, Odie. Would you say that the ideal relationship structure is the man at the head of the relationship?
If that man is a man who understands how it is to communicate and talk to the people in his family, absolutely. But most men don't operate that way.
I am cutting him slack. He's in hostile territory. And his answer to that should have been a direct affirmative. Absolutely no. Are you dumb? That's what his answer should have been. He was playing a very specific political game here, where he did not want to kind of demonize the audience and the people who ascribe to a particular set of ideals. So he bowed out of answering the question, I'm assuming, by saying, well, he didn't answer the question. The question was, is the ideal relationship where the man is leading? No, is his answer. But instead of just saying no, he says, well, that man would have to be a leader and show the capacity to lead for him to be the leader in said relationship. But that's not the question. In your mind, is the ideal relationship where the man is leading? The answer I would give is, well, I don't have an ideal relationship. The ideal relationship is one that works for the people involved. That's it. The ideal relationship is the one that works for the people involved. So the man can lead, the woman can lead, they can both exist equally where no one needs to be the leader because, like, are we cave people? So, but I thought I would drag him for this. I understand why he did it. And different kind of platforms, if you want to reach men, I guess, if you want to reach men, you're not going to do it with the sort of bitter truth, unfortunately. I don't like that though.
That's crazy.
Wait, so
That's insane.
So do you think it's possible?
Also, it's really smart the way he answered it, because the only reason it's now smart in retrospect is because that man just said it's insane. How is that insane? The professor, whatever his name is, didn't say no, right? He didn't say the man shouldn't lead. He said the man should first show that he can lead and have the capacity to lead, to have the ideal relationship where the man is leading. I thought everyone would have agreed with that because he made it so specific that, like, there's nothing to really disagree with. There's not, like, the thing I disagree with is that he didn't answer the question directly. But I think it's like a smart out that he took. If they're natural born leaders, why don't they take on leadership position in society? Workplace or in the Black community, Black women in these roles, girl, they're gonna say white supremacy.
Woman in that relationship, man and woman, that the woman could actually successfully operate the leadership role and the relationship is able to sustain over time.
Can you define leadership role?
Okay, so in
but
this
why
case,
did you have to define leadership when he already spoke to it? What do you define as a leader?
So,
I'm asking you to clarify because he asked the question.
No, because this is the thing. Oh, you clearly just said the man.
The girls are fighting. Where's my Azalea Banks meme where the girls are fighting? The girls are fighting. Girl, we have two wannabe alphas going at it. Why the submissive one at the top not speaking? I don't use these terms. I'm joking. There's no such thing as an alpha unless we're talking about wolves. What right? So like I am joking. Joking. I feel like y'all should put them in the ring. I'm kidding.
And should not necessarily operate in that role, you know, because he has to be qualified in these certain ways. So assuming whatever you understood about the man being in that role, can a woman sit in that same role we were just speaking on and it be a successful relationship with the man not necessarily in that leadership position?
No. Statistically, no. Ideally, but statistically, no. The reason being is because 9 times out of 10, because that woman perceives that man in a particular way, she won't engage with him long term because she doesn't
absolutely not. Trash. What do you mean the woman can't lead? See, just when I was starting to like Professor Odie. Just when I was trying to like Professor Odie. What do you mean the woman can't lead? Okay, she not gonna respect. I have seen great women leaders. What do you mean? Haven't you heard about the woman king? Someone said run it back, please. I can do that for y'all. Because these moderators, by the way, they only come after people they disagree with. And it's really annoying. They don't ask follow-up questions to anyone else unless they disagree with them, which is very annoying. They are so biased. It's so annoying. I watch Shahrazad Ali sit up there, contradict herself, do all kinds of foolishness, and these men just sat there like feel like just dumb as ever. And now they're pushing back. This man said something. You give us captions. Wait, y'all, I don't know. Let me check. Charizard. like the Pokemon. They actually just endorsed white supremacy. Tap out. Look, Odie also believes in like patriarchy, and like this is annoying me because like I was actually rooting for him. I was rooting for him, not fully because y'all know I can't vet. So like I was rooting for him, but like someone said to rewind it, so I did. Let's do Charmander.
Wait, hold tight, Anton, because I want to make sure. So Odie, so a relationship with a man and woman. I want to be very clear. Are you saying that the man is not an automatic situation? The man is not the leader, or should not be even looking to be the leader in the relationship? I'm just trying to get some clarity.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the man is not automatically a leader simply because he's a man. That's foolish.
Now, let me ask you this, Odie. Would you say that the ideal relationship structure is the man at the head of the relationship?
If that man is a man who understands how it is to communicate and talk to the people in his family, absolutely. But most men don't operate that way.
That's crazy.
Wait, so
this is insane.
So do you think it's possible that a woman in that relationship, man and woman, that the woman could actually successfully operate the leadership role and the relationship is able to sustain over time?
Can you define leadership role?
Okay, so in
But
this
why
case,
did you have to define leadership when he already spoke to it?
No,
what do you define as a leader?
So,
I'm asking you to clarify because he asked the question.
No.
Girl, the way I wouldn't even respond. You are not the moderator. You are not the moderator. Unless this is an open discussion right now, I'm not even going to respond to you. The moderator asked me a question. I asked the moderator to clarify the question. Why do you think I'm just gonna, oh, you spoke to it? Yeah, like you spoke to everything else. I'm not gonna respond to you. Unless you're the moderator, I'm not responding to you. What do you mean?
Because this is the thing, Odie, you clearly just said the man should not necessarily operate in that role, you know, because he has to be qualified in these certain ways. So assuming whatever you.
Odie says the man should be qualified before leading. You all should be in agreement, even in your patriarchal foolishness. Even as degenerate and patriarchal as this is, why are y'all mad that someone who agrees with you is requiring that the man who even he believes should be the leader should first be qualified? What do you mean? Why is there an upset? Why is anyone upset? No one should be upset with that. I should be upset with that because, no, you are not a leader by virtue of being man. Even when you're qualified, it doesn't mean you're going to lead nobody. You first need to find a woman who is willing to let you lead them, apparently, because there's a lot of women who want men to lead them. So period, go find that, and then you become a leader. But I should be disagreeing with y'all. He's not disagreeing. He just says men should be qualified before leading. How is anyone upset? How is there any pushback at all? Literally, this don't make no sense. This does not make sense that they're pushing back against him, saying that the man should first be qualified before leading. Like, how are we in bizarro land right now? Like, I am so confused as to why they're like, oh my God, you think the man should be qualified? How dare you? How dare you said the man should be qualified to lead? Yo, they're upset with this man for saying that men should be qualified to lead. You don't get to call yourself leaders. Oh, you said it's a typo. When you're subjugated under, I'm assuming, another male group and race. Girl, I get what you're saying. You can't be a leader if you're subjugated. Vivi, thank you. I am so confused why they're upset. Like, I should be mad at Odie right now. I should be mad at Odie. The thing is, I can't be mad at him because he just apparently messed up their whole system because he said that a man should be the leader when he's qualified. And they are upset. And I feel like he's not gonna, I don't remember him asking them, yo, why are y'all upset? Shouldn't the man be qualified? Should women just be out here submitting to every man because they're man? Shouldn't the man be qualified? Shouldn't women look for good men? Y'all tell women to vet. You all tell women to vet. And I am saying the man should first be qualified. Does that not fit right into your narrative? If you say, I am wrong for saying the man should be qualified, then you cannot tell women to vet because you are just confirming that by men being men, a woman can just go pick a random man and submit to that random man because the man does not have to qualify. You can't tell the woman to vet while also saying that the man shouldn't have to be qualified before being a leader. That does not make sense. That does not make sense. Why are y'all mad? You can't yell, choose better. You can't tell women it's their fault for picking the wrong man while also saying it is wild because someone said the men have to be qualified first. That is, by saying they should choose better, by saying they should vet, that's what you are saying, that some men aren't qualified and shouldn't be chosen. What are y'all doing? And I don't think Odie is going to, oh my God. But I didn't get upset because Kamala won't let him lead. Why are they upset, girl?
Understood about the man being in that role, can a woman sit in that same role we were just speaking on and it be a successful relationship with the man, not necessarily in that leadership position?
No. Statistically, no. Ideally, but statistically, no. The reason being is because 9 times out of 10, because that woman perceives that man in a particular way, she won't engage with him long term because she doesn't respect it.
Okay. So you pretty much do acknowledge that a man typically does have to head the
So y'all train women to submit to men and then say women won't respect men who can't lead. Like that don't make no sense. It's not men lead or women lead. It can be an egalitarian relationship. What do you all mean? Like it's not either or. It's not either or. It's not either the man is leading or the woman is leading. Maybe power shifts and power is negotiated based on expertise in a relationship. Like, what do you mean? Maybe there is a consistent and maybe constant negotiation that these people engage in to sustain their relationship, where one time the woman's opinion matter more and other times the man's opinion matters more. Like it's not either or. When you create this terrible dusty dynamic and create this kind of dichotomous like reality, it's like, girl, no, reject it. This is why oh my god, I'm annoyed. I'm very much so annoyed. Yaya says, yeah, I wish these men would lead us to some infrastructure and not some invisible leadership that they can't define. I can't. Let me fold my feet. I have my dressing pants on. I have yeah, you better eat. Have I seen Curry Up and Eat? I miss Curry Up and Eat. Let's play some more.
The relationship in order for it to be successful.
I believe that a man has to have a particular level of identification and communication with the people around him in order to lead that relationship effectively. Yes.
Okay.
Are you listening to what you're saying?
I'm definitely listening to what it is that I'm saying.
Coach Cron, what do you have anything to kind of say about this? So, I mean, let me just ask you a question. Do you think, Coach Cron, that to sustain a long-term, successful, healthy, happy relationship, the man should occupy the leadership role?
I don't think I know. So I want to be clear. I don't want to blur the lines. And when I hear professor, I just think he's using based on scenarios and situations, right? But in an absolute world, every man who's connected to his purpose, I want to kind of connect the entire conversation. If I'm walking in my purpose,
useless. The professor is going by case basis, but in an absolute world, in a what world? In an absolute who now? Every man that is connected to his purpose, so not every man, because most of us aren't connected to anything. Most of us are just kind of zoned out. Most of us just trying to live our soft girl era. most of us just struggling to get by. Most of us can't even read beyond what's it? What was it, 6th grade level? But talking about connected to a purpose. Most of us not going to school. A lot of us in prison. Not most, a lot. Some of it's costing the government $50 billion. So you are saying in an absolute sense men are supposed to be leaders when they're connected to their purpose, girl. How many of us are connected to a purpose? And now what do you mean by absolute? Absolutely useless is what you mean by absolutely. Just absolutely. Girl, just watch the snake eat itself. Just, it is sad. I'm laughing, but it is sad to notice and like see the sort of Ouroboros nature of the manosphere in real time, right? And the mask, this, by the way, is why debates are useful. The mask gets lifted a lot when people talk enough and their talking points aren't predicated on meaningful sort of, I want to say substance, but they're not predicated on anything meaningful. Because it is important, and I hope you all caught the fact that the issue that they're having with the professor now is that he's saying that for a man to be a leader, and he believes men should lead, he believes the best types of relationship have men as the head. So he just as patriarchal as them, in my opinion. Don't at me, at him. But before the man can lead, the man should have certain qualities and be quote unquote qualified. You have to believe that. You have to agree with that. I'm talking about this man and the man with the hat and the glasses and the beard. You have to agree with that for you to tell women to choose better. Because then any man will do. This does not make sense.
I'm not questioning what I do with my wife. That's my wife. Like you said, she had qualities of a wife. I approached her. I asked her for a hand in marriage. I made all the visionary moves to live in this country, live in that country. I told my wife just to trust me. Like I can't imagine it being the other way. She approaching me to, hey, do you want to court with me? Hey, would you marry me? Hey, now I'm like, I fundamentally can't even process that in that regard. And I mentor, and I'm saying that in the context of somebody 20 mentor 1,000 men. And I know that a lot of men we talked about earlier are just not equipped with some of those skill sets that I've been able to acquire with my dedication, my life to God, and my work on myself. And I think we're just talking about in situations and scenarios of brothers not being in a healthy space or traumatic space or neglected space or an abused state. Like now that makes these different dynamics, but in the absolute reality is black and white with me, man.
Got it. And it sounds like to
So you're not going to ask what an absolute reality is. No one's going to ask what he means by an absolute reality. No, he just going to say absolute reality in an absolute. Y'all just going to let that slide. No one's going to ask for clarification on that. No, just let it go, because we all know what an absolute reality is. We all agree on this absolute reality. All right, girl, period. Oh, super chats. My bad. No one wants to lead another adult all the time. You want a partner that can also take charge in certain areas so you don't get decision fatigue. Yeah. These men talk about leader this, leader that, but look at the first side of problem and see where blame goes. Look where blame goes to find out who they think is the real leader. That's how I decide a leader. Thank you, CJ. I walked in my purpose through Target this morning. Yeah, period. Period. I was trying to find those Stanley Cups because I wanted a Stanley Cup just to see if I can feel like a housewife with the cups fighting over it in Target, but I couldn't find it. Could not find a Stanley Cup to buy. Soft guy error automatically sound like in my head drizzle. Girl, the man came up with drizzle on TikTok, and I was like, okay, period. Because y'all think this sound good. While y'all doing it, y'all think this sound good. They started this podcast exactly like this and started grifting a year ago. Now their true colors, green, are showing. I just hate when they pretend like they are not biased. When, if you watch, they don't let anyone speak that they don't agree with. They just jump down their throat. This is where I tap out. Don't tap out yet. I promise you it gets better. I don't actually know if it gets better, but apparently that's the thing we say now. Keep going because it gets better. Meanwhile, it doesn't. Oh, I got Yeti. Thank you. I already have Yeti then. And every time I go to Starbucks, I buy a new mug thing. I'm kind of addicted to them. I need to stop. Males who know nothing about leadership yet speaking on it is wild. They know nothing about blame. They know everything about blame. They're leading women to celibacy. That's mess. Celibacy. I hate that word because I'm very bad at pronouncing it.
To some degree, when I'm listening to Odie's perspective, I can imagine that.
I hate the word violence also on vegetables and Is it aluminum or aluminium? I think it's aluminum. I don't remember which of it. I will leave that alone. Leave me alone.
Just in general, gender roles and how we traditionally understand them, you might feel that gender roles might be outdated. I don't want to assume that, but let me know. Do you feel like traditional gender roles, is that something that we need to redefine, or we need to really stand on the traditional gender roles that we know, Odie?
I firmly believe that it's something that needs to be recontextualized, right? Because Anton made a statement where he said that I'm a benevolent dictator, right? And a benevolent, I don't believe that benevolent and dictator can go hand in hand. Like there's no, my bad, y'all. There's no.
See that guy dealing with you right there? See that? See that guy dealing with you? He know how to,
Once again, there's thing as a benevolent dictator, right? So when we talk about this idea of leadership, when we talk about this idea of engaging and leading, there has to be a particular level of understanding who it is that you are as a man. That's one. But also two, do you understand what it means to communicate? Do you understand what it means to come to your wife and say, yo, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, and this is the way that it is that we're gonna go. A benevolent dictator, like that means that I'm being nice to you, but I'm still telling you what it is that we need to do.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
I'm still forcing you to do what it is that
I didn't say I forced you. I said that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's what a dictator does.
Oh, listen. I got one rule. I will never force you to be somewhere where you don't want to be. I'm never.
Okay, you can be cool all you want and say, I would never force you to be because you want to be around me. I just tell you how it is. Then you're not a dictator. A dictator is forcing someone. So you don't know words. Is what OD? Is it OD or OB? I think it's OD. ODI. It's OD. So you failed. Demons, now you know they don't like requirements of any kind. Choose better means choose them and not other. Period.
We're going to try to convince you to do the thing that's in your own best interest. You know what your best interest is. You know that we are much better together than we are apart. I'm not going to try to convince you, but at the same time, when I took your hand in marriage, you understood that I was going to be the head of this household. Listen, if this house is foreclosed on, nobody is coming to you and saying, hey, baby girl, why is your house foreclosed on? That's my responsibility. I own that.
My point is Black women only seem to be okay with other groups of men being leaders, but do not like the idea of Black men being leaders. Y'all only have an issue of male leadership when it comes to Black. Tokyo, if you're here, do you want to come up and explain this? Because I don't want to take you out of context. Tokyo, are you here? Also, is there anyone who agrees with these men? If there are people who agrees with these men, drop a 1 and I will drop the link so you all can come up. Because I don't want it to be an echo chamber. I do not want it to be an echo chamber. So I want to allow people to come up and let us know what they think. Let me know what you think. Drop a 1 if you would like to come up. Drop a 1 if you would like to come up. I will drop the link for you so that you can come up. Drop a 1 if you would like to come up, please. Is Tokyo here? No? Tokyo is not here. Is Tokyo not here? Tokyo, this is me. All right.
I would never put on her the requirements of what a man is supposed to take accountability for and ownership for. And so because of that, there are certain decisions. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to take into consideration what you say. It don't mean that I don't care for you. That's my benevolence. That's the fact that I actually value you. It means that I'm also looking to try to understand you, to put you in the best position possible, not only to benefit from this situation emotionally, financially, spiritually, so on and so forth, but at the same.
Okay, that's fine. You could want to put them in the right position. You could do that, but it doesn't mean you know what the right position for other people is. Like the fact that you just know what the right position is wild. Yeah, it's what Yo, where's Tokyo? This is problem. I would have loved to get some differing opinion. Going this hard on us about black men, but your name is Tokyo. So, Benji, baby, please. Y'all gonna scare these people away. I don't want y'all to scare them away. I want to see Tokyo Vanity or Tokyo Tony or Tokyo Teriyaki Tina. Whatever your name is, can you come up, please? If the house gets foreclosure on, the bank gonna come to her because your credit ain't good enough to get the mortgage in your name. So, period. All right. So no one is coming up. All right.
Same time, when there's a decision to be made, it stops at me. 100%. There's only one head of household, not two. This is not a co-CEO situation. None of that. There's a husband and a wife. And I don't even want to put on her the responsibility of the decision making.
That's not mine. I think I got that from Lovely Tea. And I'm pretty sure I got that the Teriyaki Tina from Lovely Tea.
That I have to make. I don't even want her to go through some of the things that I have to go through in order to ensure that this family is taken care of and that it's in its best position possible. She has a role and a responsibility. She lives in that space. I create that space for her to thrive. She loves it. And so my dictatorship means that this is not a democracy. We don't get votes. We don't do none of that. Now, we do communicate effectively, but she also understands, listen, if you ask her, she'll tell you. I don't even want to know what's going on that front with this thing that you got to deal with. That is a responsibility of a man. And so absolutely 100% I operate within a benevolent dictatorship.
Right.
And I cannot speak.
Sir, stop saying benevolent dictatorship. There's no such thing. If you're forcing someone to do something that is not benevolent, you're forcing them to do something. Even the all-powerful God, does not force people to do anything. He gave us free will. We have free will. So that's wild to think that there's such a thing as a benevolent dictator. You can be a benevolent dictator.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's go, coach.
Go ahead, coach.
Now, I was just saying, like, I think why is important too. For Mr. Davis, the brother, I resonate a lot because I say questions like this, right, Professor? Like, we was in a situation, my wife and kids, and something happened. I don't care what the scenario is, but it was threatening to my family. So he mentioned the foreclosure, but a burglar trying to come in the house he got to shoot somebody. The house is on fire. Somebody got to get sacrificed in the house for everybody else to live, right? We're in an accident, and somebody has to be sacrificed for everybody else to live. The only person that thinks about absolute
What? Me? No, I didn't say that. I must have misspoken. I said dictator, but it. I mean, period.
sacrificing themselves on behalf of the family in every single scenario for every single person, no matter what, is me. Like I walk in process in the vein of I am willing to die and kill for everybody in this household on a regular basis and twice on Sunday. So for me, that narrative that I'm processing and walking around in, my wife, because she has me, she's not walking like thinking about that. You know what I mean? Like, let me make sure I take a bullet for my husband. Let me make sure I jump in front of the bullet. Like she's in a safe space, so she's doing what she needs to do as a woman, as a wife. Why? Because I'm in her life and I'm processing at all times, at all costs. I got everybody, no matter what. That's what that leadership don't come with. No, I'm bossing you around. That leadership comes with I'm willing to make the ultimate sacrifice every single day for every single one, and nobody else has to worry about that because they're in my household. That's what that really looks like. You know what I mean?
How does that make any sense? Sir, how many times in your marriage have you had to put your life on the line? How many times? Because these men pretend like we live in Gotham City and they have to dress up like Batman every day because when you walk out into the world, they have to be protecting you from the world, from other men, mind you. Where we live in Gotham, how many times have you had to put your life on the line and how are you still alive? I need to know how many men you fought off. I need to know how many attackers you fought off, how many thieves broke in that you fought off, how you going to teleport wherever she is when she's not in your proximity to fight off people. I want to know. Because the next question is how many children y'all have? How many children did she produce for you? Because when you sit up here and say you have to sacrifice and you have to put your life on the line and you have to do this, and you think about how putting yourself at risk is going to benefit your family, and she doesn't have to do that because she's in her feminine, we now need to talk about childbirth. We now need to. Because if you have a child, your wife put her life at risk. I don't care how easy she told you the birth was. I don't. Are you like Raven from Teen Titans talking about Azria Methrium Synthos and just disappear to wherever she is? Because that don't make no sense. But what does make sense, while you downplay your wife putting her life on the line to have a child for you, while you downplay the life sacrificing event that childbirth is, while you downplay that, try to up your, oh, I have to put myself on the line, is wild to me. That is wild to me. How many times? I want to know how many men you fought off to protect your wife and family. I really want to know how many times you fight off someone to protect your family. And then I also want to know how many children you got. Because now we need to see who's actually putting their life on the line. Someone said not Teen Titans. Girl, he talking like he have to disappear wherever she is. And the only person I could think of, right, maybe Scorpion Girl, because Scorpion from Mortal Kombat can do the teleportation. Like, women are literally being unalive giving birth. At one time, childbirth was to women was what war was to men. And consistently, Black women in particular have not had a good outcome or have good outcomes when it comes to interaction with the healthcare system in the United States, even though it is a modern world, quote unquote modern. So they're putting their body through a ton of stress through the 9 months that they're pregnant, and then they actually have to give birth. But you're going to sit up on a platform talking about your wife gets the rest in her femininity. She doesn't put her life on the line the way you have to constantly put your life. How many times have you fired off an intruder? I want to know. And I'm not letting that go until you answer how many times you had to physically fight off an intruder. Because if you said you pulled a gun, well, girl, anyone can pull a gun. So unless you physically had to fight off an intruder, I'm gonna need you to go sit somewhere with your foolishness, talking about I have to be the man and protect you. You're not protecting anything. I bet you there's 0 times he had to fight off an intruder to protect his wife. I don't know this is a fact, but they should have asked. not, not y'all putting me in timeout. Gotham City.
And let me be very clear. My wife hasn't worked in almost 17 years for nobody other than me in our household.
So she has worked. So she has worked. She worked for you, which means she worked. She worked for the household, which means she works. Unless you don't consider that labor. So she works. I feel these men want the accolades of being a leader, but do not want to learn to earn or eventually gain respect for doing something honorable. Because they would have to do things. The reason there is a fight happening on this whatever dusty debate is happening, is because the Professor Odie person literally said you should be qualified to lead. And this is having them in a tizzy, girl. These men are fighting for their lives. These men are fighting because someone said they need to be qualified to lead. Girl, period. My wife hasn't worked for anyone but me. What Mary J. Blige says, for all the time that I was loving you, you was busy loving someone else. I was your secretary. Let me pull up the lyrics. Like Mary J. been telling y'all. Mary J. been. All right, I'm done. Mary J. said, I was your lover and your secretary working every day of the week. I was at the job when no one else was there helping you get on your feet. I was your lover and your secretary working every day of the week is nasty work. But I thought she was supposed to be resting in her feminine. Oh my God.
Ever since my daughter was born, that was the last day that she ever stepped foot in something that I'm supposed to be responsible for. So when I say benevolent dictatorship, again, you got to remember that there's roles. We really operate within gender roles within my household. And I would never put her in a position based off of what the standards are that we set within our relationship, right? Based off of those standards, because I do take her feedback into consideration, I would never put her in a position to have to go and fight for resources with another man in order to ensure that we survive and that we thrive.
Right.
And I don't, and let me be clear, I don't think that there's any woman that would ever want to have to go out there and be forced to work.
Right.
So anybody that would disagree with that is wild to me, because that just tells me that we are redefining what a relationship is and gender role.
He does this, which is it's not a lie. No woman wants to be forced to go work. Men don't want to be forced to go work either. It's the same thing with his men have to struggle. Yeah, women have to struggle. Welcome to the world. Welcome to life. Like, making this thing that we all go through one-sided is wild and nasty and manipulative work. Like, it is. And Professor Odie should now retort with, yeah, so you make sure your wife does not have to go to work. When I say the man should be qualified to be a leader, this is what I mean. Why are y'all mad? You pointed out how and why you are a dictator. But I never said men should or shouldn't be dictator. I only said, I'm speaking on behalf of Odie, by the way, and this is not my opinion. I only said the man should be qualified to lead, and y'all got mad. Y'all started fighting and tussling with yourselves. Mary said she would stop breathing if he told her to. Like, Mary, breathe. Girl, I should bust out in song right now, right this moment. Blocked. You're blocked. H is blocked. Fully blocked. Themis, I'm taking you to the club when you have your London meetup. I'll come just to go to the club with you. Email me. I've been looking into Europe. I've been wanting to go to Europe. There is something coming up soon in a country in Europe that I want to go to. And if you're serious, there's something that I'm coming this summer. I'm going to Europe. And if you're serious, I'll come to the UK. All right, let me stop. I will, though. I will.
Are.
I'm gonna actually drop that
I'm gonna
poll.
let you.
Hold on.
I'm gonna let Professor Odie respond before, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing. But go ahead.
Most definitely. But the thing that both of you all described is not a dictatorship. Neither one of you have described a dictatorship. Anton, you described more benevolence and you described more in-tune communication with your partner than you described dictatorship, because dictatorship implies that you're doing this by force, right? Brother Crump, what you're talking about is still communication, and what you're talking about is still a particular level of engagement with the people around you in communication with them to say, this is what it is that I'm going to do. But to say that your wife or to say that somebody in your household is not thinking about how it is that I'm going to sacrifice for this family in this way, I don't agree with that. I firmly believe that in a lot of different ways, the women in the household, they think about how it is that they're going to sacrifice for their family. They think about what it is that they're going to do outside of what it is that's necessary for them, or beyond what it is that they feel like they need to do in order to make sure that their children are and their husband is where it is that they need to be. So once again, that's the reason why I said benevolent dictatorship. I don't necessarily agree with that terminology, because dictatorship implies that you are forcing them to do.
Blah, 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 blah. A dictator means you're forcing them to do it. It is an inaccurate assertion made by you if you're telling me you're not forcing them to do something. Saying the word benevolent does not change the fact of what a dictator is. Therefore, you were incorrect in your assertion that you were a benevolent dictator unless you were forcing someone to do something. Stop with the niceties now. They've been dragging you all through and through this debate, and you're up there like, oh, it don't imply anything. It is what it is. It is what it is. Ain't nobody got time for you to be sitting up there talking about imply and be nice to these people. Drag them.
Do this. Both of you have just identified that you have conversed, you have agreed, and you have engaged. That's what I mean when I say, hold on, let me finish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's what I mean when I say gender roles need to be redescribed, because the way that it is that we identify it is that because I'm the man, what it is that I say goes, and I'm forcing you to do what it is that I say.
So well, now, Odie, real quick now, because I think Anton might have been ready to bring this up, but it sometimes in relationships it does become a fork in the road. So you can take those steps like Anton talked about in communication and trying to find some level of agreement, but sometimes two people cannot come to an agreement, and the decision still must be made. So
isn't this one right here? Isn't he the one who talked about he want a younger woman who he can manipulate and mold and make into what he want them to be? Isn't he the guy? Because it's definitely giving wannabe right now. And his voice sounds very familiar to me. Sometimes it's a fork in the road. Yeah, you're going to do what she says you should do. What about it? You ain't leading nothing anywhere anytime soon. Ain't nobody listening to you. If someone is listening to you, unfortunately, it's to manipulate you. Ain't nobody listening to you, sir.
That situation where a decision must be made, okay, and the family must go into this specific direction, who is the final decision maker in that scenario?
Anton, me, the man, ultimately. And see, just because we communicate effectively does not mean that this is not the direction that we're going in. You understand that this is where we're going. We're going here. We going in that direction. Now, I may be able to sauce it up a little bit cleaner for you and make you feel good about it. Oh, man, you know, we definitely going to make sure that we get this up and we doing this. And I need you in order to make sure that, you know, you help me get to this space by being a phenomenal mother to our daughter. We can sauce it up any way you want to. You can communicate. You can say anything to anybody if you say it the right way. But the point of the fact of the matter is we going in this direction. And if you don't want to go in this direction, then you can't be married to me. Flat out. And that's the way that it is. That's the way it's going to be. That's the way of my three brothers that's married at early ages since they was 21, 22 years old, just like me. They operate like that, never been divorced. All 9 of my uncles on my mother's side, never been divorced.
Okay, he doesn't believe in divorce, and he believes that you gonna stay together forever. So if she decides not to, then the relationship doesn't end. He literally said he doesn't believe in divorce. So she don't gotta go. How you gonna force her to go? You gonna make her go? How are you gonna make her do it? Because he don't believe in divorce unless he does. Are you gonna divorce her when she doesn't listen to you? So you believe in divorce. Got it. Girl, I wish I was the moderator for this debate.
We don't know what illegitimate kids or divorce look like. My father Then, like, that's the way that we operate within our society. And we don't have the same problems that the society that y'all live in and the culture that y'all subject yourself to is enduring through. We don't have that same situation. And if we had more people that operated within these gender roles, submitted themselves to the way that God has already aligned it or outlined it for us to operate by, you wouldn't have some of these issues that we have within society. So many people want to fight against the truth because they don't like the way that I say it. I just say it raw and uncut. You can twist it, you can make it what you want to be, but the man is supposed to be the head of the household. He's supposed to control what direction that y'all going in. And if you don't like that, then you shouldn't have got married to him in the first place. That's what vetting is for. That's why you need a father in your life.
Guys, you gotta listen. Okay, go ahead, Kron. Go ahead.
Now I gotta say this because I think what's important too, like even Professor, like the clapback of what you believe a wife is. We know that. We know women have those thoughts of protection. Like I'm not dismissing that, and I don't want us to lose track of. But if I'm in the house, if it's my house, if it's my wife, like that's not their responsibility. That's not the weight. That's not the burden. That's not the everyday concern. But if you don't have it, of course, obviously, just being a woman in this world, you have to think about your safety and your well-being of those that you love. But that's the point of having a husband. So a lot of that you don't have.
You have to think about your safety. Let's look at these DV rates. But no, I'm not even going to push back against this. Please note that what that man just did with the Bible is cover up and made pretty what this man with the hat, glasses, and beard just said. He said nothing different, by the way. He just added scriptures and say it is for your protection. Just note that. Because a lot of the times people will come and be mad at this one right here. Right? People will be mad at this one right here, but be happy with the other man who is talking about protection and God and serving God while you are subjugated. It's the same thing. They're saying the exact same thing. And if you, I was going to use the word delusional, and I don't mean, I do. You are delusional if you think, oh, the other guy, the way he said it is better, and I'm willing to do that, but I'm not willing to do what this one right here with the glass, the mustache, the beard, and the eyeglasses. If you were perturbed by what the one with the hat, the glasses, and the beard just said, but you're okay with what the coach is saying, note, they're saying the exact same thing. And you just want to be lied to. They're saying the exact same thing.
Burden yourself with that emotional taxing of, okay, I got to protect them, I got to provide for them, I got to figure it out all the time. You want to remove a lot of that stimuli so they can be who God has called them to be. So I just want to put that context that me saying that doesn't mean that my wife doesn't do that or doesn't have those thoughts. Of course she does. Of course all women do. But the difference is she's not forced to day bear it and figure it out and deal with it and manage it. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Let's go to the poll. Ryan actually just dropped the poll for us. Let's see what they're talking about.
I just dropped the poll, but I want to read a couple of super chats real quick. Shout out to Chris Monroe, St. Louis. Shout out to my guy Tyshawn and Ryan Bag Chasers in the building. So Anton about to drop them bombs. Shout out to all the new initiates. And shout out to BB. BB, I'm just highlighting it because you said the cards are significant. BB, I 1000% agree with you. But ladies and gentlemen, I dropped this poll because the guys will bring some heat. But I thought I wanted to see what the audience think. And it's a resounding.
What was the question?
Oh, close to 450 votes. Who should lead the relationship? 95% of the people say the man.
I get that. Now, before I move on, obviously, it's a lot of ladies in the chat too, and they saying that the man should lead the relationship. Odie, do you have an issue with a woman who has a traditionalist mindset that believes in traditional gender roles? Do you think?
I don't understand why they're attacking him or asking him this question when he very clearly says he don't care. And he says if the man should lead, he should be qualified to lead. I don't remember what he says here, but this is wild. Because there are women, people are like, oh my God, women want to, apparently there's a lot of women who are like, oh my God, I want to be led. A lot of women are like, I want to be subjugated so badly.
I think that there's also an issue with her level of conditioning and wanting those traditional gender roles and her thinking in that way.
No, I don't believe that there's anything wrong with it, right? Because here's the thing. When we talk about traditional gender roles, a lot of times when we're having this conversation, when we actually start having this conversation, it begins to become more egalitarian, right? It begins to become more about sharing particular things. It becomes more about talking about what it is that's going to happen before it happens.
Yo, why I read this and almost like I had to like stop myself from giving this really bad guttural laugh. I know this is such a simple sentence, but I don't know why I find this so funny. The delusion, the delusions know no bounds with these men. Like I don't know why this is so funny to me. It's just
It talks more about how it is that we're going to move through this as a team, irrespective of who it is that's making the decision. Right now, if the man is going to lead the relationship, just like Anton said, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to talk to you about it. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to engage with you about it, but it simply means that we're going to go in this direction. My particular issue becomes that force.
Detroit men are liars. Is that what they doesn't mean Detroit? Stephanie, are Detroit men liars? How beta is sitting around talking about masculinity instead of being off the internet working like alphas, right in the field, like going out hunting, carrying back the meat. You need to go out. You need to go out and go hunt some meat. What Anton is this? Which one is Anton? Is Odie Anton? I don't know who Anton is. I'm just gonna keep going. What Anton is describing is not marriage, but a BDSM relationship beyond dominant and submissive, but master slave relationship. So I think you mean the guy, the bald head guy. So the one with the bald head, if it works for him, it works for him. There are women, and I had to come to, like, you have to be okay with this. There are women who want to be, quote unquote, submissive to a man and think that that is their life's purpose, to be a helpmate to a man. And like, I don't think it's right to shame these women. It might just be like a happy, loving dictatorship. He said it's a dictatorship, so it might just be a good dictatorship. I don't know. I don't know that. I won't comment on his relationship. That is not my place. I don't know them. I do not know them. Anton already said they hate Jesus and his stepdaddy Joseph. So why would it matter? Logic. Oh, I didn't know they said that. That's unfortunate.
I'm going to tell you what to do, when to do it, and you don't have any feedback in this conversation. That's where we begin to get into what it is that we identify as traditional, because it comes down to the whole idea of I'm going to make you do something without considering how it is that you want me, that this could go. And a number of women, genuinely, they do not want to be forced. They want to be engaged with. They want to be considered, and they want to be talked to as it relates to the go.
Wait, Anton is not Odie, so it's not Anton Odie. Odie Anton. No. Let me look in my Discord. Discord, let me know who is who. Anton, Odie, Anton. All right, I just asked my Discord, nothing.
Goings on of the relationship that they're in.
Basically, what he's saying is he agreed with me. He just wants us to finesse it better. Like when we break it down from a C student's perspective, you can throw all of the big words and all of that on top of it. You agree with me. You just don't want some word salad on top of it and saying that we need to make it sound better.
Someone said Anton is the Rick Ross lookalike. Oh, so him. Oh. Anton is the Rick Ross lookalike. So him. Got it. This one. Thank you. I won't remember his name because, yeah.
For them in order to convince them to go willingly. That's what you're saying.
So check this out, because I want to actually take it in a different direction, because we talked about gender roles here. But again, this conversation was about, the issues, and the state really is more so in masculinity in general. Gender roles obviously is a conversation that's regularly brought up, but it's some different things that we see in here. And I want to make this conversation a bit more culturally relevant as well, because me personally, I'm very disturbed by just some of the things that I see on my phone when I see this constant feminization of men. I notice this. I see, men doing things that we would traditionally consider as feminine characteristics, painting nails, wearing clothes that just might start blurring the lines on what manhood and womanhood is.
Certain amounts and levels of costume jewelry too.
100%. First of all,
haircuts.
When we start seeing men take on these more feminine characteristics, is this a crisis in masculinity? And I know I cut you off. I want to bring this back to you, Odie. Would you consider that a crisis in masculinity?
Nah. Nah. I can't.
Okay.
I can't rock with that. The reason why I say I can't rock with that is for a couple.
So instead of saying men, there are some men who can provide, protect, build infrastructure costing the government $50 billion, you decide that the issue with masculinity is that men are becoming, quote unquote, feminine. So men wearing nail polish and dresses maybe is what's killing masculinity, not men's inability to provide anything, intellectual stimulation, finances, physical protection. That's not what's killing masculinity. Got it. So masculinity for you is performance. A very specific performance that exclude the ability to pay for things. Got it. Got it. Got it. A period. Well, we'll let them feminine men go to the bank and y'all be masculine without the nail polish and the dress, but also can't provide for anything. Got it. A period.
Reasons. One, if you got all these things on you, if you're wearing all these different things, X, Y, Z, and A, B, and C, I don't believe that has anything to do with your ability to engage in the behaviors that we identify as masculine. So once again, leading the home, engaging in what is necessary in order for you to hold down the home, being able to engage with your wife and your children in such a way where you're moving them in the direction that they need to be moved in, right? What the clothes that you wear, the haircut that you got, the jewelry that you got on, come on, bro. Let's be real about that. Let's be real.
And this is where we start blurring the lines.
Hold on, you got Crump and Son scratching their head about this.
But see, this is, Professor's a brilliant, powerful black man, but this is where lines get blurred. Even when he said the challenges of traditional roles is the force, like projecting it as a narrative of what a traditional role is. A traditional man don't force his way. A traditional masculine, mature man of God shows up when people acquiesce. I don't force anything in my life because I walk in who I am, and people recognize that they drawn to the light.
Girl, who is subjugated in this society? What do you mean masculine men show up and everyone just acquiesce? Are we just going to ignore marginalization and subjugation and costing the government $50 billion and prison industrial complex and homelessness and lack of ability to read and communicate and be emotionally intelligent and aware? Like, what are we doing here? I could actually drag without opening my eyes. I could literally be falling asleep and you wake me up into a drag. Like, what do you mean? Blurring the lines, talking about masculinity, showing up where, girl? Who respects? For people who literally talk about being marginalized, degraded, subjugated, cut off from resource, welfare took you out of the home. For people who do that kind of talking, to be talking about respect, masculine. Gavin! I'm going to leave this alone. A masculine man shows up and nobody respects.
And the same respect of if I'm walking in that, I can't be walking in that and painting my nails and painting my lipstick. I'm sending a different message. People are not taught, it's caught. So whatever I say is going through one lens, but they're catching my visuals. They're catching my example. They're catching my demeanor, my tone, my temperament, my energy, my spirit, the space I occupy. That's what's being translated. So I can't be saying that I'm walking in mature masculinity and I'm walking in that in my day-to-day living with my wife and children and my community, but yet I'm expressing myself in a way that's confusing, that's saying, well, which side of the fence it is. It's like saying, I'm really not a stripper, but I'm wearing a two-piece in the street. I'm saying, why are you acting like I'm a stripper? I'm really not a police officer. I just got the uniform on because I'm expressing myself.
So if a woman is wearing a two-piece, you get to treat her like a stripper. How do you treat a woman like a stripper? Explain that to me. Explain that to me. It didn't miss me. So if a woman is wearing a two-piece, I don't know two-piece what, swimsuit, I don't know, you have a right to then treat her like a stripper?
So like that's when you start saying, well, when you got a police uniform on, when you got a bikini on outside, now I gotta try to interpret things, and that's why we're here where we're here, because we're leaving so many things up for interpretation, and kids and young people who their brain is not fully developed, their emotions are not fully mature. This is where all of this stuff starts to go left, starts to go right, starts to go all over.
RFK Jr. to get rid of child support, is that not fair? Period. Nail polish took him out of the home for real, for real.
Over the place. And so that's important that we kind of make the lines clear. So I want to be clear. It's black and white with me. So I'm
gonna piggyback off of that.
Chris Cross, stand on it.
I 100% agree with him. And the thing about it is that communication is 90% body language. It's 90% of what you do, is what you put on, right? You can't. My wife is a reflection of me, right? Which means that I have an expectation of her to present herself a certain way when she's outside. Now, I can't have that expectation of her if I don't first have that expectation of myself. It's confusing. It's confusing to our children. We blur the lines between what femininity and masculinity is today. Also, on top of that, we don't do that in any other circumstance except for our culture when it comes to relationships. You don't go on your job and you just do what you want to do and expect for people to respect you in the same way. You don't. You move based off of whatever the uniform is for such job that you are a part of. And so how can we sit here and be disingenuous and say, well, it does?
No, we definitely do that. There are laws being passed now that people can't discriminate against black here because their uniform excluded black here. And showing up with your natural here, we definitely push back. This man just talking to talk.
Doesn't matter, or that's not as important, especially when we have confused children. And one of the very fights that we're having in society today is how our children are being taught when we're not with them and they're in school for 8 hours a day. The first thing that you learn, and this is why it says put them in when they're young, and it'll never depart from them. The first impression that they have is who it is that their parents are. And so when you see something happening within your marriage, or I like to say that I'm the man that I would want my daughter to marry. And if I had a son, I'm the man that I would want my son to be like. And I would never want my son to walk around with nail polish. I would never want my son to walk around being immature at 40 and acting like he's 20. I would never want my son or my daughter, or I never would want my daughter to marry a dude that's walking around being feminine and he's a reflection of her instead of her being a reflection and trying to make sure that she's meeting the expectation for how he set the standard in his household. It absolutely matters. And that's one of the things that's going to affect whether or not you're able to sustain that relationship long term.
Listen, first of all, I feel you on that one. It's interesting because, I was talking to a close friend of mine, and he actually said he's a father of 3. I grew up with him, ran into him after seeing him, haven't seen him in years. And we sat down and we caught up over dinner. And he has 2 sons. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, he has 1 son, his oldest. And one of his biggest.
I'm annoyed. If y'all wanted to argue with Professor Odie, if these hosts wanted to argue with Professor Odie, they could have brought him on and argue with him themselves. They're cowards. They are cowards. They wanted to argue with him, it looks like, but instead of bringing him on to argue with him in the way that they want and have a debate, they structured this where they are the moderator, but right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them against 1. That's how they structured this. These people are not moderators. They're in full debate mode, and they're all debating Professor Odie. Y'all are cowards. If you wanted to drag him, drag him. Y'all budgeting with these stories and coming up and pushing back. Like, I see through you. This is not in any way, them moderating. Like, they're not. Notice they've pushed back many times, and not one of those times were against anyone else beside the Professor Odie person. Just notice that. Y'all don't find that weird? Y'all don't find it weird that they push back, ask clarifying questions against only one person in this entire debate? Y'all don't find that weird? They kept co-signing the other two men and kept pushing back against Odie, asking him clarifying question, asking him follow-up question, but they don't do it for anyone else. Y'all don't find that weird? That is wild to me. That is wild to me. If y'all wanted to debate Professor Odie, bring him on and debate him. Don't get your minions to come on to do your dirty work for you. That one up at the top, like, oh, I've been here 4 times. I'm breaking records. Girl, ain't nobody care about you and your dusty record. This is annoying. I hate a dog pile. I hate a dog pile. Like, I dislike a dog pile. You don't bring one person up there and then everyone starts attacking that person, going after that person, questioning that person, and no one else is getting questioned when you're supposed to be the moderator. Like, y'all are just weak and disgusting people talking about leadership. And I'm not talking about all of them. I'm talking about the 2 hosts. If y'all wanted to drag, y'all could have brought him on and argued. Y'all didn't want to do that. Y'all wanted to hide behind beard, glasses, hat, and the light skinned guy. I don't know his name. The coach, you said his name was Anton. Y'all wanted to hide behind them 2 men. Weak. I would never do some foolishness like that. If I wanted to debate you, I'm going to debate you. I'm going to drop the link, bring you up, and we're going to debate. We're going to go back and forth. I'm going to question you. Like, I don't like this. And I know the setup. I know the weak, useless approach that they take to building a wall in front of them in the way by way of their coach and Anton, and create that wall so they don't actually have to own what it is that they believe. They can hide behind a dusty wall and get to throw their darts and then hide behind the wall. I am not debating. I'm just asking questions. That disgusts me. Like that is disgusting to me. I believe fear and respect are the same. I actually think a lot of people do. That's so unfortunate. I only debate my equal. All others I teach. I'm going to ask you one more time. Will help me get legislation to ban their starting of podcasts and get micro period. We need to shut it down.
His fears is his son just becoming homosexual, mainly because of, and just out of his influence, right? Just because of what he sees on social media, what he's around, and just the level of exposure is so high. That's a real fear to him. And I want to, just really get depth and understanding to.
A man walking around afraid that his son is going to be homosexual is probably hiding something. If you're walking around worried your child is going to become gay because of what they're exposed to in the world, you're probably hiding something. You can open it up. You can open up now. It's a safe space. So you just took Anton's word and you added to it this world that creates quote unquote homosexual people. And now you're putting that up there. Oh, if you want to argue about whether or not the culture is creating gay people, we can do that. We can definitely do that. There are more people. I remember I was talking to someone and they had the audacity to look in my face talking about, well, we know the culture is creating more gay people because there are more men identifying as gay now more than ever. Like, are, maybe there was the same amount of gay people way back when, and they just never confirmed it or said it out loud or identified with it. I mean, shut up. If you can't dismiss that talking point, you don't get to talk. And hiding homophobia in this way is so disgusting. It's not even hidden. Oh, this man is so afraid that his children are going to turn gay.
How open you are, because again, this goes back to how many of us see masculinity and the spectrum of it. Odie, do you think it's important to clearly express to your child, especially a young man growing up, that he is only to be attracted to women as something that's a clear black and white signal and action or value for him to have as a young man?
I disagree with that.
Should we tell our kids that they should only be attracted to men or women? Girl, if you want to come out of the closet, just say so right now. I wish you would have asked me that question. I wish you. Should we tell kids that they should only be attracted? Should we tell male children they should only be attracted to girls? I wish you would have asked me. Guys, there's something you want to tell us. Were you forced to only choose women?
That completely. The reason why I disagree with it is because it causes a number of health outcomes that are not beneficial for that child at all. See, here's the thing. People believe that you can teach somebody how to be gay. People believe that you can teach somebody how to be homosexual. That's been proven time and time again that you cannot. You cannot teach somebody how to be gay. Brother, if I say to you, oh, it's cool to go fuck dudes, and then you just gonna go fuck a dude, that means that you always want to fuck that dude. Right? It ain't no way that you can sit up and tell me. It ain't, bro. There's no way that you can teach somebody how to be gay. If that were the case,
You a therapist, bro?
Of course, we can run down the data.
Well, sometimes
there's no way that you can teach somebody how to be gay. It's been proven time and time again. That's one, but also two. That's the reason why conversion camps don't work.
I don't even understand why you're being this vulgar. Just answer the question. Ain't nobody got time for this. Should you tell your child they should only be attracted to the opposite sex? No. All right. Why? Because if they're homosexual, LGBT, lesbian, whatever they are, I'm going to accept them how they are. I'm not going to tell my child who they should be attracted to. Next question. I don't know why you're going into if you want to F someone or do why? Like, you don't have to do all that. I'm talking about Professor Odie, by the way. I'm talking about Professor Odie. Like, ain't nobody asked you for all of that. I am talking because he is incorrect. Mind you, you can be born this way in some people's mind. There are people who do it for pay. There are people who have experiences in prison, right? There's a lot of ways in which someone can have those kinds of interaction. Well, maybe it's not attraction, but there's a lot of ways in which things could happen that way. So, like, the fact that we don't know fully around these ideas means you don't get to like just make blanket statements like this. Just for you, do you believe you should tell your child who they should be attracted to? No. They're probably going to ask you why. And you're going to say something like, love is love. I don't care who my child is attracted to. Nobody told you to be this vulgar.
That's the reason why when people send their kids to these camps to teach them how to be straight, where they get this electroconvulsion therapy, where they get beat, where they get abused. That's the reason why these kids are jumping off of buildings. That's the reason why these kids are killing themselves. It's not because they're confused. It's because somebody's attempting to teach them what it is that they know that they're not. You can't teach somebody how to be straight.
Odie is trying to talk to them like oh, this could be true. You know what? I never considered this. My bad. Public apology to this man. I'm not apologizing, but I will note that I could be wrong and that he was probably talking to them in a way that they can understand. My bad. This is a fear. There's a fear assessment. There's a fear assessment. It just seems really vulgar to me for no reason, but you might be right. My bad.
You can't teach somebody how to be gay.
So wait a minute. Are you telling me that you are not directly influenced by the environment that you were raised in, the culture that you subject yourself to? Let me put it to you this way. Mm-hmm. Is it a fair assessment to say that a lot of people that wind up saying that they're gay, right? Mm-hmm. That they have trauma or something that happened to them when they were younger that also impacted how they see sex and how they see people and how it is that they relate to the opposite sex?
That would not be a fair assessment. There's no correlation to that. Right?
There's no direct correlation.
So why did you add a word? Why did you add? You could, like, that was so good. No, that is not a fair assessment. Leave it there. The truth is, we don't fully know anything. We don't know. There are people who've probably not been to the kind of trauma I'm thinking this man, the bald man, is talking about. Like, there are people who've not been through that trauma who are gay. So it doesn't mean that trauma equals you turn out gay. There are people who've been through the sexual trauma that he's probably talking about that didn't turn out to be gay. So, like, it's wrong. So, like, I just feel like he could have just said no. But again, maybe Odie is trying to speak to them in a way they understand, but I'm not adding extra words.
To the idea that
let me restate myself. There is no statistically significant correlation between somebody being abused, somebody being molested, and them turning out gay. If that were the case, there would be a lot more gay men. A lot more.
Okay, there you go. Period. There you go. There you go. Whew. You stressed me out, sir.
There are a lot of gay men. There's a lot of gay men.
I said a lot more. Because what happens in these homes, what happens in these churches, what happens in these rooms.
Odie, stop. You're wasting your breath. When you said there would be a lot more, and his response is there is a lot, you should just look at him and not respond at all. You don't respond to that. By the way, it's a drag. Point for Odie, right? But like, I wouldn't respond to that because you're not. What do you mean? There would be a lot more gay men if trauma led to being gay. Oh, there's a lot of them now. And did you not hear me say there would be a lot more? What part of lot more don't you understand? Saying there is a lot currently is wild, because first you're going to have to define what a lot is, and I'm not even going to get into that with you. I said there would be a lot more. You telling me there is a lot does not answer, it's not responsive at all to my statement. I'm not responding to that. You either elevate or I won't respond. What do you mean? There would be a lot more gay men if trauma created gay people. What do you mean there's a lot? I said there would be a lot more. What? Y'all keep reminding me of this, and I keep having to remember. I can't. Because I'm not about to lower myself. No. You're going to elevate. I'm not, no.
Is that both boys and girls get molested. Both boys and girls get sexually assaulted. So if that's the case, why are there not more gay women?
Let me ask you this, guys.
This is crazy.
Guys, I want to ask you this. Is it and we can start with you, Anton, and then move to Crump and Odie. But is it fair if a woman says, hey, you know what? if a man has ever had sexual relationships with a man, I would never date that man. He can never be an option. Is that fair for a woman to say that?
Absolutely. 100%. I believe that everybody has the right to have preferences. Now, whether or not you can get whatever it is that you prefer is a completely different conversation. But 100%, it is within a woman's rights, and it is absolutely fair for a woman to say that if a guy has ever done something sexually with a man, that I don't want to be a part of that situation. And I support it. If a woman said that, I would 100% back her up, be in her corner. Then there's nothing that you could say to me that would ever get me to change my mind as far as supporting what she says and what her preferences are. 100%. And I don't think that she should. Because I believe that if a man is engaging sexually with another man, then he's gay. 100%. You can remix it. You can say bye. You can throw a bunch of letters on it. LBGT, ABCD, EFG. You can throw whatever it is that you want on it. But if you let another man in any way, shape, or form, and you volunteer to touch a man's Johnson, or he touched yours, or you rubbed up against another dude's butt, you are 100%, in my personal opinion, you are gay. And it's okay for a woman to say, I ain't messing with you. Real talk. That's where I stand on it.
Odie, go ahead.
So what I'm hearing is that, one, Anton, just a quick question. So if your daughter were to come to you and say that she was a lesbian, how would you respond?
Girl, don't ask me no question. Answer the question. Is it okay for a woman to say they don't want to be with a man who's been with men? It's okay for a woman to want a 6-figure man, a tall man, whatever. You get to set your standard. You do. Like all this tangent is like annoying. A woman get to set their standard. A man get to set his standard. Who you choose to be with is who you choose to let in your intimate space and share with. You get to be as discriminatory as you want to be about who you decide to bring into the most private area of your life. I don't know. Like, why are you asking any questions here? Ain't nobody got time for this.
What do you mean? She would never do that. She would never do that.
Wow.
She would never do that. I set the standard. We put it in them when they're young, and she absolutely would never ever come to me and say that.
No.
So I don't play. I don't play hypotheticals at all. And as a matter of fact, let me help you to understand something. If let's just entertain it for the sake of conversation. I didn't do my job as a parent. Either that, or I did do my job as a parent, and I need to let her go. I will never go against whatever it is that the word of God says. Absolutely not. I will never, ever. I will disown you in 5 seconds. 100%. As long as you are under my roof, you're going to do what it is that I say. Now, when you decide to leave out there and go on your own, then that's a completely different conversation. But I will never support anything demonic inside of my household, especially when it comes to doing the things that I think is absolutely going against the word of God.
Yeah, again.
He would disown his daughter if his daughter said she was attracted to women. She was attracted to women. That's sad. That is so sad. I mean, I don't have a pushback. I mean, he's saying what he's saying. We already know how homophobic a lot of the Black community is. So, like, I'm not surprised by this. I just find that sad.
I think we're hijacking. Like, it's going back to having something before the first thing is done. Like, we're skipping steps again. Like, I think about, let's go back to what you were talking about with the masculinity of our boys and how the world is influencing and things of that nature. My son has a rites of passage this summer.
Girl,
right?
just say you go disown your child. Like, I can't with this man. He is such a disgusting. Let me just say something. The Anton Daniels of the world, I don't respect, right? You said Anton Daniels, what? Yeah. I don't respect, but I can understand because it's very, like, I know people like him annoy me. This one right here, the coach, people like him annoy me. The reason people like him annoys me is because just say you will disown your child. Don't, the Bible, I really love you, but the Bible say you got to go. Go like, wait. Like, you on this long-winded diatribe about how men are leaders and women are followers. Like, ain't nobody have no time for that. I'm not going to finish this because they're annoying me. I was going to plan to watch it all night, but no, I'm tired.
15, he goes to a rites of passage. He got some preliminary steps. So we talk about the 4 male archetypes, right? The king, the warrior, the magician, the lover, and the mature masculine way that that's carried out. So me and my family were going on a weekend trip with men, like cut the emotional umbilical cord for his mom. He's going to step into his manhood. My son has been preparing for this his whole life. My daughter did hers for her 15th birthday, right? She did her rites of passage called the Intunsion experience. When we integrate a South African culture, her Bermuda culture, American culture. And so my son will be doing a similar thing on Bermuda this summer. Because that is how he grew up, right? He is ready to be a mature masculine man. He wants to, he doesn't know anything else, including like God said, the word of God, like it really determines like how you groom children. Like you can groom children, and I've been on my post. I've been on my post strong their entire life to make sure they was walking and feeling in their position because me.
You see how they ask the professor guy question after question. This man, the coach guy, is not answering the question. And I bet you they don't ask him. Would you disown? Repeat. Odie, you ask the question. Ask him again. Would you disown your son if he's gay? Would you disown your daughter if he's gay? Ask him. Please, we ask him, because him coming around corners, not, oh, I am building these men and I am going to do their rites of passage and they want to be a man and fee, fi, fo, fum. Okay, period. Now that your story is done with all that dusty foolishness, please let me know if you would disown your son if they're gay. I want to know, because I'm going to ask you directly. He will never be gay. Hypothetically, of course. In the words of Life Jennings, hypothetically, would you disown them? Host said, let's talk about the gays. I don't even know how the gays got into this. Gays minding their business, trying to make money and live their life.
He choosing to be a masculine man to their mother. That's not me. What a flex. What a flex. I'm jealous.
I see that little flex. You're not slick, Anton.
Y'all never seen my, come here. Say hi to the people real quick.
This is social proof.
Oh, she's pretty. She's pretty. She looks like a sophisticated woman to me. She looks cute, pretty, and sophisticated to me. If his son cheated in a marriage, he probably wouldn't disown him and probably wouldn't call it demonic, even though it's also right. I like her. I like her aesthetics. I think she's pretty.
Oh wow!
Hey, excuse me, wife. Are you happy? Are you happy, or are you sad with the dictatorship over there?
I am extremely happy.
Oh, okay. Satisfied wife. That is one satisfied wife that just dropped her testimony. We love that.
Okay, hey, check this out. I want to have some fun here.
Because wives don't come online talking about how great their marriage is while their husband is someone else's boyfriend. Because wives don't come online talking about how they're in love with their marriage and they love their husband and they're doing great. Meanwhile, their husband have a boyfriend. Because wives aren't out here talking about them and their husband fighting demons because their husband is cheating on them. I am not sitting here taking anything else. We know these women are lying on their marriages. We know that. So people are like, oh my God, she said, oh, they're the ones who just said she's happy. We don't know. What I do know is she cute. That's what I know. She's cute. She's nice. Good on him for finding a really beautiful wife. If his son I read this. Thank you, Destiny. I actually agree. I do. I mean, she is really pretty. And I do actually hope that she loves him and they have their good, beautiful marriage. I hope she's happy. That's all I can hope for. I don't wish bad on another woman's wife. I would never do some foolishness like that.
Here, and I don't want to cut you off here, but this is what I want to do. I want to get the family involved because I think this is a really important conversation. We talk about sexuality right now, and
she does resemble Fantasia. I don't know, not exactly. There's a slight resemblance there. I do agree.
What I want to know is it important? I want my initiates to come up here and talk to us. Will you be teaching your children sexuality in the household? Should you be teaching black and white sexuality in the household? Ryan, let's go ahead and drop the link for the initiation hotline.
Hotline, please.
What we're
Absolutely.
gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put that link in there. You'll go. Understood.
Incredible. And guys, I actually dropped
a different kind of conversation.
This one here, I'm straight up asking the question: should sexuality be taught at home? I'm bringing Joyelle up on the stage. Joyelle, I hope you're ready to speak. Lionel, help me out. Let's go.
Yeah, we gotta bring some ladies in.
We gotta bring some. We can need some feminine energy here. Joyelle's on the stage. Lionel, I want you to bring Joyelle up so we can see.
We gotta ask her a test question first.
What up, Joyelle? How you looking?
Yeah, what's popping?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you guys?
Go ahead.
Good.
I'm blessed. Go ahead. Give me your age, your location. We added this one in last show, and your relationship status.
And pop quiz. Who should lead the relationship, man or woman?
Hold on. Ask me the question.
No, because we're gonna hang up on if there's anything else. Okay.
Go ahead. Give me that.
I'm 49.
Yes.
I'm calling from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm currently single.
Got it. Okay.
The man should lead the relationship.
Okay.
Asheville.
What about the sexuality? Will you be teaching sexuality at home?
My son is 24, and I definitely taught sexuality at home. That doesn't mean teaching him how to be sexual, but that meant me teaching him, okay, you have a penis, women have vaginas, women carry babies, and he needed to know these things emphatically before I sent him off to daycare.
And when I say sexuality, just to be clear, that whether or not he should be heterosexual, did you make it very clear that he is only to be heterosexual in your household?
I don't think I made it very clear. But his dad was in the house. So I think it was just naturally what he saw. He saw me in a feminine role as his mother. He saw his dad in a masculine role as his father. So I think that kids imitate and mimic what they see naturally. So I don't think it necessarily has to be taught. It's just about what they see, what they're exposed to, that I think really influences which direction they may go in. I never supplied him with Barbie dolls, and I'll tell you that. So I did try to influence, like with toys, but he naturally gravitated towards trucks and more masculine toys. I never dressed him in pink. Like, who does that? So I believe that parents can definitely influence by what they're doing to their children and how they are carrying on just on a day-to-day basis. But no, I didn't.
So these people think that if your dad is there, you won't be gay. If you don't dress them in pink, they won't be gay. If you don't give them Barbie dolls, they won't be. Do you think people hate their gay children because they feel like it's a personal failing on their front? Because if you think, if you're making this paradigm whereby you need to create your child's sexuality, then I can understand why you would blame yourself if they don't come out the way you go away. So you think gay men just play with Barbie dolls and wear pink? You said she said she's 40-something single, but she think the man should lead. So I don't know why, like, the men should probably be picking her up right now. She ready to submit, apparently. I'm very happy. Meanwhile, her husband just said he would disown a child that she carried and brought into this world if they were gay. Right? Look, I know a lot of people have been through a lot of things, particularly hearing stories about gay people in the US. Jamaica is much, much worse, but mind you, thankfully, I have a bubble that all of this seems very foreign to me. Disowning your child, like there was a debate online about, would you want your child to be super successful? I think it was a doctor, neurosurgeon, and live a happy life and be able to provide for you and whomever and be really successful, but be gay, or be a thug who goes to prison and be straight. And overwhelmingly, people would prefer their child to be a thug who go to prison. And I was like, ooh. I was like, okay, period. Because the priorities aren't. Girl, period. Like their dad did not get it passed down by them, but girl, they will support pedos in church, but throw their kids out, sick, nasty. Yeah. There's another conflict I have with the church. The position of women, homosexuality, slavery in some ways, are some issues I've been contemplating a lot, when it comes to the church. There's a lot more about God and the different aspects of God. But yeah.
Tell him, oh, you need to be heterosexual, or you need to be this way. But I showed him through example. His dad showed him through example.
Thank you very much. We're gonna get to some other initiatives. Thank you so much for coming on here. Okay.
Yep. And initiatives, make sure you have your turn your camera on, because that's how I'm gonna know you serious about being in the studio. We only got limited spots in the studio, guys. So please turn your cameras on. We'll bring you up.
Please be brief and brilliant, because I want to bring a few initiates on. All right, we asking here, are you to teach your kids sexuality at home? I got Street Media TV. Welcome to the show, brother. What's popping with you? You on mute, brother. You on mute. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, my bad.
What's up with you, brother? Go ahead, give us your age, your location, and your status.
Well, I've been married 20 years. Location Philadelphia. I'm 48. All of that stuff should be taught at home, by the parents. I mean, it goes without question, but the parents have to be aligned right, and they have to be living right in order to actually teach the children the right way. So I just think that listening to this conversation, I agree with Anton, but the problem that people like me and Anton run into is we're considered dinosaurs today, being traditional. But dinosaurs.
I'll be a dinosaur. I'm cool with that.
Girl, when they said they were considered dinosaur, traditional was not the word that came to mind. I was like, yeah, probably. I can understand why you think y'all are both dinosaurs. It's giving dinosaur in the face. No ageism. Absolutely no ageism. These are the children left behind from the early 2000s. We need a software update in the Black community. Shaking my head. Period.
Because I teach that all day long. And the most important thing for me, though, is that I don't just teach sexuality. I teach morality. I teach the ethics. I teach the Bible. We go to school together. We learn homework. I'm at parent-teacher conferences. I participate. I made sure that her mother didn't have to go to work in order for her to be able to not go to daycare or be a latchkey kid to where she didn't get morals and values based off of what somebody else is teaching them. I teach that you can't have sex before marriage. I teach that you have to respect everybody. The women in our family and the daughters are raised to serve every man at the dinner table, including for holidays. And then the men are taught us, a certain thing, and that we got to go ahead and take care of business before women even get there to ensure that the place is suitable enough for them to be able to do what they do. So I'm cool with being a dinosaur. I don't want to be of the world. I believe that the majority of these people are going to bust hell wide open. Mm-hmm. And so I'm cool with standing on the idea that I'm going to move as a dinosaur, and I'm going to let y'all go ahead and have the rest of each other, and y'all can figure it out together.
Hold on, Anton, let me let Street Media TV finish so we can get to the next initiative. Street Media, close out really quickly for me, brother.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, I'll just say this. A lot of people come and say that they want traditional and they want this until it's actually time to do the work. Relationships is not something that's promised to you like life or death. It's something you got to fight for. Everything that Anton said, people say that they want that, but when you got to actually do the day-to-day work of being a parent, being a husband or a wife, and people don't want to do that work because it takes work. It's what Anton is saying. Doing the actual work of what he's saying takes a whole lot. And I just landed here. The homosexual topic with the child. I'm super old school, but
so you teaching it at the house.
I'm teaching it at the house, but I will say this. I will say that some children are born that way. You can see it. I can see it. You literally can. I've seen it in my nephew. So, and you can't. When I'll say now, I'm done here. I've learned in my years that some children you can't ungay them. They who they are. It's okay. Nothing you can do about it. You can't pray it out.
Oh wow. Okay. Look, appreciate Street Media TV. Thank you so much for coming up, brother.
Appreciate you, brother. Welcome back.
Deal with that. There are some people who are just born gay that you can just see. You just know this child is gay. Put it back on the table. Let's hear. Because the coach guy talking about, I bring my child and we push him through this rite of passage thing. Okay, deal with it. No, I would.
And this is gonna be the last one I want to hear real quick before we go to the next one here. It looked like we got Kendra up in here. We bring a lady up on this joint. Kendra, what's popping with you? Want to hear from the sisters?
I had my camera off. I'm a little under the weather, but y'all gonna make me put my face on here. It's okay.
It's all good.
That's all good. Kendra. Look, listen, age, location, and a relationship status, and let us know your answer to the question.
I am 45. I am single. I've been married before though. However, I do believe that things should be taught in the home. From growing up, I feel like nothing should be taboo, but it has been taboo when we were growing up, and that's why some of our children are what they are today. They have been raised without parents or in a single family home. And even if you do have a single family home, both parents are one of the other needs to teach the child in regards to how the Bible has it lined up, because that's why we're here, for God's purpose. This is one of the reasons why I love your platform, because you guys are bringing love back to the atmosphere, and everything starts with love. We got to teach our kids. They only know what they're being taught, which is also why I'm walking in my purpose in regards to creating a mentor program, because it has to start with the youth. And sometimes we are not being taught in the home, and the program is being created to teach everything from A to Z in regards to how we're supposed to live on this earth, the things that we should and should not be doing, and how to walk in God's path, period. It's just nothing other than that. I will say that sometimes our children do get away from what's being taught in the household. And because of that, things can be put in their minds where they can question things, but I'm not going to be okay with saying that's okay if it's not in regards to what the Bible says.
Kendra, thank you so much for coming up and giving your perspective. I appreciate
now,
that.
We still got some initiatives in the box right now. Y'all in the queue right now. We're going to code y'all in there for a little bit. So hang tight, and we're going to get back to
fair use. And also that lady said absolutely nothing. She's anti-gay, it sounds like, because the Bible says so. But she doesn't want to outright say it. So there you have it.
To the conversation. What you saying, Coach Ron?
Yeah, again, it's always like we're skipping a step. And I'm hearing a resounding theme. And it's like, what makes this transition easy, seamless, natural, organic is the man and woman being on the same page and being in the home and exemplifying what they're listening. It gets way more complicated when you got baby mamas, baby daddies. They're going back and forth to different houses. So the reason all of these other scenarios and concoctions we got to come up with is because a man and woman is not honoring their vow to be together for life and work things out and come in with a healthy reference towards each other and a respect towards God and committed to that. Because those things are not happening. Now we got split homes. Now we got parents giving different views and different perspectives and different energy and bidding wars and trying to win kids. When all of that stuff happens, now you leave a child, again, left for interpretation to my feelings, to my thoughts, to my opinions. And that's where I go ahead. So my biggest flex is not that I got stuff. My biggest flex is me and my wife can stay together for 22 years. My biggest flex is that my kids was raised under the same leadership their entire life. That is the hardest thing to do in this world. All that other stuff, anybody can do. But we are not conscious going in as a woman, as a man, are we doing this for life? Because our children are right behind us. It ain't even about us. As soon as you get married, it's not even about you no more. And I think we're talking about what the children need to interpret when they don't need to interpret anything if they're living under an example. So yeah, I want to just make sure that pretext was important, because when you don't have that, and that's why we have such a big discussion.
So they talk too much and they don't actually deal with anything. And the hosts I don't find the hosts to be smart in any meaningful way, because like all of this, you do this and you do that, ignores one very fundamental point that you need to ask. First of all, do you believe people are born this way, or do you think that you can socialize someone to be gay or not be gay? Let's start there. And the fact that the hosts aren't going there, because like gay people are minding their business and you brought them into it. So now let's talk about it. Christian Keith is hella annoying. Christian Keith came out, got his bag, and went back into hiding. Yeah, we need to go blow up Christian Keith's Instagram and ask him about who the billionaire was that was, you know what?
Got these different type of households.
Let me ask this, Coach, because I think this is very important, because the conversation of marriage is being consistently brought up, and ideally, that's probably the home structure that the children are being brought up in the first place. You made a statement that I think is very important to address, and I want to get the thoughts of the brothers here on the set, because you said that you do not believe a man, and I want to make sure I'm quoting this right. You can tell me yes or no. You said you do not believe a man can become his highest and best self without marriage. Is that true?
Yep, that is true. Okay. Not his highest and best self.
Anton, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't believe it to be true. That's probably the first thing that I disagree with Coach.
I want to hear your thoughts on this one. What's up with you, brother? You still muted. I can't hear you, Beans. Hold on. Let me see if I can help you out. I can. I think you got to unmute that. There you go.
Got you, yeah.
What's up, Beans?
What's good, man?
Beans,
what up?
Give me your age, your location, and your relationship status.
46. I'm in Kentucky, and I'm recently single.
Recently single from a relationship or from a marriage?
I would call it a marriage, but it was a relationship of 14 years.
What the hell?
Girl, what do you mean you're gonna call it a? What do you mean you're gonna call? What do you mean you're gonna call it a marriage? I promise I dislike these people. I promise I dislike these people. What do you mean you just gonna call it a marriage? You just wasted this woman's this woman's time. Oh my God, these men are why I don't want children. I don't want their offspring interacting with mine. Y'all have to see me. like, just, oh my God.
Beans,
why the hell would you call it a marriage if it was a relationship?
What happened, Beans? Why y'all didn't get married?
Because marriage is not a state institution, right? Most people would argue that it's a spiritual institution, and there is no documentation needed in order for a woman to be your wife.
Going? Come again? Marriage is not a state. What now? Marriage is not a state. What now? You don't need document who? Yeah. Period. You have these men out here playing in y'all's faces. These men out here playing in y'all's faces. Because they don't want any legal obligation.
Okay, right. So y'all had a covenant, is what you communicating?
Absolutely.
Okay, now go ahead and give me your thoughts on this one, because I'm ready to hear this from you, especially being in it for 14 years. Does a man have to be married to reach and achieve his highest and best self?
So, respectfully, first of all, shout out to my man Anton Daniels. I would be remiss if I didn't do that. Shout out to him and everything that he has done for the space and content creators such as myself. My answer to that would be no. I was trying to get in on the first question though about the sexuality, but I don't think so. I know we hear a lot about the statistics of
No, not doing it. Good night. This man have boring energy. I can't. Actually, let me skip him. Instead of coming off, let me just skip him. Here's a lady. I can't do boring energy right now because I will fall asleep.
Can reach his highest and best self without. Let me see. I'm gonna bring Christine to the stage. Christine, what's popping with you?
Hey, hello. How you guys doing?
What's up, Christine?
I'm blessed. Christine, let me know. Christine, well, let me slow down. Give me your age, location, and relationship status, Christine.
Okay, I am 62 young. I'm in Rochester, New York, and I am very happily single and waiting.
Yeah, I think the last time we tried to do a little Harley and Love with Christine. You remember that?
Man, I remember that, Christine.
It was Christine and Dr. Steele for a second.
I remember that. Christine and Dr. Steele. Yo, Christine, help me out on this one. Do you believe that a man can reach and become his highest and best self without marriage?
Well, I was married 6 to 7 years before, and from experience and just listening to like the late Dr. Miles.
I'm going to go ahead and skip you too. She was giving me bright energy, loved her energy, but absolutely not. Can a man reach his highest and best self if he's not married? Answer the question. Like
parent household where both parents are stable, both parents have the ability.
By the way, she was sweet, and I really liked her smile. But no, I'm skipping. It's too late for this. It's too late.
To provide for that child, and both parents have the ability to understand what's necessary for that child, then yes, statistically there are better outcomes for children.
I just want to ask a question.
So let me take this conversation, by the way. I want to take this conversation in a bit of a different direction here because I appreciate you brothers in here. We are at the 9-minute and 36-minute mark of the or 9:36 p.m. on Eastern time. So y'all been going in for quite a minute because we've been rocking since 8. And I want to go ahead and take this one in a bit of a different direction because I think this is important here. I want to address some of the cultural language here that we use here. You might hear this a lot. We might hear the beta males. We might hear the alpha males. We might even hear simps. I even remember when my boy Anton kicked the door in.
The message to us.
He said the message.
This is silly because even women, even if they don't like you, even if they want to disagree with you, even if they don't like your rhetoric, I think that the one thing that we can agree on is that being a good man is not enough. I think that
I want to ask this too, just for context of really understanding how we feel like men have evolved. When we talk about manhood or masculinity over the last few generations, do we feel that men in general have gotten weaker over the past few generations?
Y'all want me to take that too? I can
take
that too.
Do I feel like men have gotten weaker? Yes, absolutely. Right. But I feel like they've gotten weaker in their morals and their constitutions. They don't know how to regulate themselves outside of being applauded, outside of being lauded. They don't know how to direct themselves. They don't have any direction. They have a lack of self-sustainability. They don't recognize their purpose. And when you bring that to their attention, or when you bring that to their purview, they get upset. Right. It's like oh well, no, brother, no. This is the reason why when I have conversations with men and they start talking about what women are like, no, bro, what are you doing? Where are you going? Where are you coming from? Have you taken accountability for yourself and what it is that you need to do for your life before you start talking about these women? Like, no, shorty. So do I feel like men have gotten weaker? Absolutely. But I feel like they've gotten weaker in such a way of self-regulation, in such a way of mental fortitude, and in such a way of understanding what it means to lead themselves before they're leading anybody else.
They got weaker because the generations that came before us failed us.
Come on, I'm about to say we allowed this to happen.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say it's self-regulation. Children often at times, and this is scripture, pay for the sins of their parents, pay for the sins of their fathers. And so that's why, right? The generations that came before us, and I'm not even, I'm not talking about me, obviously, but I'm talking in general to the general population. The generations that came before us, they had the greatest opportunities of all time and they failed. They fumbled. Even the narratives that we live by today,
I'm actually not tired. I am bored out of my mind. I am bored. The level of analysis, right? The rigor is so absolutely low and rudimentary that it is sickening. It's sickening. Have men become weaker? What do you mean by weaker? If we're talking about their moral constitution, by the way, I disagree with Odie on this one. The weakest group of men probably were in slavery. And I'm not talking about black slaves. I'm talking about moral bankruptcy from white men who enslaved black people. So, no, I'm not going to sit here and say that we've become weaker. I think it ebbs and flow. And I do actually believe if we're talking about physical strength and physical might, I don't actually know because people go to the gym now, right? But I do believe there's principle around hard times create tough people, not just men, tough people. Soft time, easy time creates weak people, right? So like I can appreciate a sort of bird's eye view analysis saying that we're weaker now because times are so easy. But easy for whom? And in what way? So like I just like the blanket statement probably feels good, like oh men have just become weaker, but it fails to take into consideration how we're measuring strength. Probably men are weaker in every aspect. I think women are stronger now, stronger intellectually, in their capacity to engage meaningfully in work. But like the like even if I disagree, I just don't want to disagree. Like there's nothing to like bite into. Like there's no meat there. It's just like useless. Like it's just a bunch of men just blabbering about nothing. What Lupe Fiasco said, blabbering about such and such. And this ain't Jersey Shore. This is supposed to be the news. Yeah, I'm kidding. So they are the only one who don't need marriage to be their goal freezer form. Period. Period. They just gonna come away. I'm
off of what they substantiate. game. And we just play.
But I'm saying, we're participating in something that at the end of the day, we have allowed, as our forefathers, as people, as adults today, we allow these things to take place. This stuff don't start in your 20s. This thing starts when you're 2. And so at the end of the day, you can't blame multiple 2-year-olds for maturing to be 20 and operate in a certain way. You got to hold the people. I just want to double down on, you got to hold, because I see my son trying to manipulate in public. And when he was 2 years old, he was very crafty. And I had to correct him. I had to guide him. I had to discipline him. I had to train him. From a very young age, he was very intuitive. But like, I can't sit there and be like, let him just express himself. And let him just talk any kind of way. Let him just act any kind of way. No, you train him. Make him understand. You have I'm
going to talk solutions now with you, brother. So let's kind of change the context of the conversation, because we have addressed that we have a generation of men now that are pretty much on a decline at this point. And most men are not able to sustain these long, healthy relationships. But the irony of that is we need these healthy relationships to be the foundation of a healthy community and a society. So that is a big issue that we are having. I put a lot of onus on men, especially as a man, that is going to be us to find a solution to this. So if we're talking to a group of men and we telling them, where do we start to get our shit together? How does that look? Where do we start?
Taking personal accountability, straight up. That's always going to be my answer. I firmly believe that as men, if we are going to call ourselves men, then we need to be engaged in things that create that ability to have integrity.
Nope. If you're going to call yourself human beings, not leaders, you need to take accountability. That's it, period. You're not a leader, not because you're a man, because you're human, you need to take accountability. That's it, that's all. But I'm with you so far, nitpicking.
That ability to have follow through, that ability to sustain what it is that you say that you're going to sustain, and that ability to do what's necessary in order to, once again, take responsibility for what it is that you need to take responsibility for. That's one, but also two, I firmly believe what it is that Coach Crump is saying, having more initiations into manhood, or having more initiations into what it is that it looks like for you to become a man who, what I like to say, is worth himself. So that's my answer. Self-responsibility.
And I catch the alley on the back end, because I did have a second part, which is, doing the actual rites of passage for every single person. And as a man, if you haven't had one, go back and do one.
We don't care about your dusty rites of passage. You said you take your child to a different country to go through some rites of passage, period. Sounds like you have money, have fun. Ain't nobody have time for all that. You think you just going to do a rite of passage and that's going to make, ain't nobody got time. There needs to be a requirement to have podcasts. There's a saying about rather being taught of as a fool than, there's a saying about rather being thought of as a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. Period.
Doing my son, like I said, we're going to Bermuda. He has a 3-day weekend all-inclusive experience. Only man, when he understands what his role and responsibility in all the 4 archetypes of manhood, and then what that looks like for a Crump as he rolls it out over the next 20 years, and helping him see that, give him paperwork, give him investment accounts, like give him everything he needs at 15 to say this is what it's like to live life as a Crump, so he's prepared to be the man that God and I have, and our family has prepared.
I mean, okay, whatever. I'm not going to nitpick. At least you're talking about what men can do. That Odie said personal accountability here for that. Dislike that he's saying because you're a man. No, just personal accountability is fine. You don't have to do it because you're a man. Just do it because you're a human being on earth. So take accountability for what you do, period. This one here is saying something about rites of passage. Girl, ain't nobody care, but at least you're talking about what men can do, so that's fine.
To be. Men just don't have that formal transition to be like, got it, I'm gonna run the play. You know what I mean? And I think it's my duty to not only do it for my son, but I'm bringing some boys with me and share that experience with him, and as many fathers and sons to share that experience, because that's really what systemically we're missing, that we want to make sure at 15.
Okay, girl, period, shut up. Sorry. Just, we get it. You need a formal rite of passage. Ain't nobody got time for that.
16 and 16 and 17, every man. For those who did it, go back. Take the personal accountability and say, look, I need to go through a process. I need to read some books. I need to have a paradigm shift in how I operate and how I move. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to help change it systemically for me, is every home with the boys having the rights of passage, but we first got to have those homes.
Anton, go ahead.
I don't think it has anything to do with the guys. I think that guys are doing the work. If you look at Coach Crump, for example, he is already a reflection of it. I don't think that you come to help people that are already doing the work. I think that you come to help the people and hold them accountable that's not doing the work. And so with that being said, I think that the biggest thing is that we need to hold women accountable, and we need to stop pandering. We need to stop pandering. We need to stop simping. If you look at the data and the statistics, most Black men do not have children out of wedlock. That is a narrative that's being perpetuated and being promoted throughout our spaces and social media, and it's not true. Most men want to be married. Most men are growing. Most men are evolving. Men still make more money than women.
Yeah. The research actually says 85% of men by the age of 45 have a child. What do you mean most men don't have children? What are you talking about? Men are already doing the work. Is the work costing the government $50 billion? The literacy rate is too low for you to be sitting up here in men, for you to be sitting up here talking about men are already doing the work. Now, what are you talking about? The question is, what can men do to be better? And you said they can hold women accountable. Stop pandering to women. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, I'm stressed. And the thing is, it's not because I disagree. It's just like, what do you mean men are already doing the work?
I don't know where y'all getting this from. And so the first thing that we got to do is we got to stop pandering. We got to stop simping. We got to start telling the truth. And we got to start holding the people accountable that are having the majority of the children out of wedlock, and then creating the narrative and the culture by which we then live by. And we don't want to have the conversation because we think that, or we keep saying that it's all men's fault, and it's not. Women have advocated for equal. They now have the ability to choose for themselves. They then can get whatever job that they want, and they can sleep with whoever they want, and they're doing it. They're doing it, and they're ruining the community. They're ruining the culture, and it's creating.
Women are ruining the community. Women are ruining the community. Not the men in gangs, not the robbers and the unalivers, not the people abandoning their children, but women are ruining the community. Men are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So women are impregnating themselves.
The worst thing for us. And then we supposed to pick up the pieces, be a stepfather, be a community leader, take on your raggedy son with a snotty nose in order to try to prevent him from stealing my hubcaps when he get older. I think that we need to bring shaming back. We need to make sure that we hold them accountable. And I think that if you are a woman that have children out of wedlock, we need to advocate for them to go back with their child's father. That's what I say.
But here's the thing though, because it's confusing now, because you're saying men are getting worse generationally. But
men are being raised worse by women that are having children out of wedlock. See, you can hold every man accountable, right? You can take 99.9% of all men and say, clean up your act, and they can all get their act together. And guess what? That 0.1% of men can still populate the majority of the children, because we know that women are having the majority of the children with less than 10% of the men. So the question...
That's not true. And all the kids would be related. But ignore that for a second. Where are you getting this? Because I thought we already debunked the idea that only 10% of men are having all the kids. 80%. By the time a man turns, black men in particular, turns 45, 85% of men will have children, will have fathered a child. I don't know where they're getting their stats, what age group they have it for 10%. I'm sure there's an age group where there's 10% of men having children, and probably around 20 or 15 to 20% of women. But that would be a specific age group. If you're doing it cumulatively, by the age of 45, 85% of men will have had a child. Like, are they just like making up stats? This is like the Brookings. The Pew Research also highlights this on its graph. Like, I'm actually like taken aback by how flippant people are with like, Just randomly making up stats. Wow.
Isn't we answering a question when we haven't identified the problem? The problem is we keep simping and pandering to a population of women that think that they can go and slut it out. They go to these indoctrination camps that we call universities. All women are promoting having a whole phase. And then we saying, well, listen, we need to get ourselves together so we can be the best for the community. But we're not dealing with the real issue. The real issue is that we have women that's operating like men, thinking that they're not going to be affected by the men that they sleep with, and then labeling themselves as wives, and we pay them to them in order to sell them a product, and we tell them what they want to hear, but we're not asking for the problem. We treating the symptoms. We're not treating the problem. We're not trying to fix them. We're not trying to fix our communities. We're not trying to reset the standard. We keep telling them what they want to hear because it makes them feel good.
And what are some of these messages, Anton?
When I see a lot of these guys come on these platforms, I'm just going to keep it 100. And at the end of the day, they selling a product. They're not giving you a solution. At least give us the medicine inside of the candy. At least. And I'll also be very transparent with this. All of these people that y'all keep listening to, they not a reflection of the thing that they advocating for. They ain't even married, but they keep telling you what's best for the black community. How can you tell me what's best for the black community and you're not even a reflection of the thing that you're preaching? How you gonna be having children out of wedlock and having multiple baby mamas, but you sitting here talking about what's best for the community? The Lord said you will know them by their fruit, and you need to get the beam out of your own eye. The thing that I want somebody to do for me is not be a nuisance and making sure that you're picking up the trash on your own lawn so we can then raise up the property values. I'm speaking metaphorically. What I'm telling you is that we need to hold the people accountable. When you're trying to solve for a problem, you solve for the majority, not the minority. And more importantly, if we want to talk about these men that call themselves leader in the community, let me see your wife. Let me see how you taking care of your family and your baby mamas. Let them come up and speak and say whether or not that you really a reflection of the thing that you advocate for. I don't want to hear no more pandering. I want to see truth. I want to see truth. Communication is 90% what you do. 10% is the reaffirming of what you already are. I don't want to hear from nobody that's not a reflection of what it is. This is the only place you got to go and put your resume online, show your degree, give your life experience, your lived experience in order to even be able to get a job. But you can go out here and tell people how they supposed to live their lives. You're not a reflection of it. Your life ain't it. That's crazy to me. And so if we really want to solve for the problem, we need to get to the root cause of the issue. And it's this pandering, it's this simping, it's people telling each other what they want to hear instead of telling them the truth. You may not like me, but it's very difficult for you to argue with the results. Very difficult for you to argue with the results. My wife is right there behind me. Everywhere I fly to, she with me. You can't argue with the results. And that's why I have the blueprint of what it takes in order to be successfully married. They telling you what you want to hear. I want to see people.
So let me ask you this, Anton. And I'm sorry to cut you off, bro, but I'm curious about this too, because you said that the root of the problem was that we dropped the ball generationally a while back. Are you saying that generationally it had nothing to do with the men? You're saying the women was who pretty much took us off track when you say pretty much our ancestors dropped the ball. You're saying it was our lady ancestors that dropped the ball, more specifically.
Correct. That was the initial issue. But when we see who's having the children today and raising these children, these men that they asking us to come and fix, that's a real time issue. The real time issue versus the initial problem is two different things. The real time issue is that women are still having children out of wedlock with the majority of men. That's not best for the community. And so we can't go back and fix your sent father. His time is up. It's over for him. Now we can get some understanding and hold each other accountable so that we can understand how we're supposed to move forward. These men to be feminine and they tell us that we got to come and fix them. Stop having to go back. Stop opening up your legs and marry before you can. Hold yourself accountable. And stop blaming men for everything.
Let me ask this, Coach Crump. What's your thoughts when you hear that? As far as when we talk about solutions for, really, I was really trying to find a solution really for masculinity, but it seems like, Anton, you gave more so it seems like, was that the solution you were saying for the black community?
Absolutely. That's the solution for the culture, for Western culture.
So you just go ignore that you were asking about masculinity. You go let him go talk about women instead of talking about masculinity, which you all were talking about, and y'all don't see the problem. Y'all don't see the problem. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me that y'all could be up here talking about masculinity and how to solve masculinity, and you all allow this man to decide that no, the issue is not masculinity. After, mind you, all of them up there, every single one of them up there, agreed that there was a crisis in masculinity. They all agree that today's men are weaker and whatever else they wanted to say. They all agreed on this. But when it came to solutions, somehow one of them forgot that they just talked about the crisis in masculinity and that they needed to do something about the crisis in masculinity. They completely ignore that they just agreed on that, and they go back to dragging women, say men aren't the problem, it's women. But this crisis in masculinity, though,
Okay, so what's your thoughts when you hear that, Coach?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of truth in there. Like the biggest principle that I think should be lost is accountability. Professor started with personal responsibility. Culturally, the experience has been we got to make sure that everybody's being held accountable for their behavior. And the reality is we're not consistent with that on a lot of levels. And for the culture, you know what I mean? But I'm big on when it comes to masculinity as men, we taking that charge on, taking our sons on and taking that issue. Because like you said, the other issue is that am I even the father in the home? Because I know a lot of fathers that want to be in their home, that want to be in their life, but the game of child support, the game of baby, like there's so many other games that people are playing that even guys that really want to be that can't be that because of the situation they find themselves in. You know what I mean? So yeah, the responsibility part on everybody's part and women, like that helps solve a lot of gaps. But we always pass the blame. Again, that's when all this stuff comes up. When we don't make it aligned, when we don't make it black and white, when we don't make it your responsibility, my responsibility. Now we create scenarios that people are left to interpret. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Odie, when you heard anti-solution, what was the first thing that came to mind?
The first thing that came to my mind still, personal accountability. If we're talking about these children being made out of wedlock, if we're talking about all of these different issues, my issue then becomes, why is it that we then turn around and make it the woman's problem when it is also us who are contributing to this problem? I can't sit up here and say all of this, that's more the women fumbled, but nah. Man, and I'm saying I recognize that men are the ones who are contributing to some of the things that are happening in the community. I'm gonna go tell them stop fucking these niggas, but then as soon as they stop fucking these niggas, then we turn around. We got a whole bunch of men who are now becoming predators. We got a whole bunch of men who are engaging.
It sucks that the only man up there who said that men aren't by virtue of being men the de facto leader. The only person who said that is also the one pointing out, mind you, he's also the one pointing out that you can push the blame off. If you're the leader and you claim that the men should be the leader, to sit up there after you said the men should be the leader and blame everyone else but the man for how the community is absolutely vile and disgusting work. I'm not reading that. That's funny. Has anyone welcome manifested? But I have not. I'm gonna take a screenshot and then read that. Hey, Sin, what does child support have to do with them being in the home? Hey, Sin, welcome. Everyone give Sin a warm welcome. While you do that, I'm going to go find the CDC, because these men love to go to the CDC. Actually, no, let's go to the US Census. Let's go to the US Census to find out how many black men become fathers. Let's do that. Because, I mean, I've already shown this. I'm pretty sure I've shown this. This video started getting clipped, I think, by a lot of people. So, like, here. That 10% is not true. That 10% is not true. And I hate having to always show these graphs or whatever. So this is the US census on fatherhood. When do men become dads? So for black men, ages 40 to 59, at ages 40 to 59, 80.5% of them are fathers. Ages 30 to 39, 62.5% of them are fathers. Ages 20 to 29, 24.9% of them are fathers. And then the teenage fatherhood is at 3.1, which is also the highest of any male group. At 15 to 19, you shouldn't be anybody's father. But that's when black men become father higher than everyone else, right? The next group is from 20 to 29. It's over 10%. 62 is over 10%. By 40 to 49, 80 is over 10%. These men are lying. These men don't do any kind of research. They just jump up there and say whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. No, if you want to do the mathematics, you would go figure out what percent of black men are ages 40 to 49, what percent is 30 to 39, what percent is 20 to 28, and then what percent is 15 to 18. And then you can figure out the raw number and percentage of the overall population of black men that are fathers. And it's not 10. I don't understand how you can look at this and know that by the age of 40 to 49, over 80% of black men become fathers. And you sit up there and say only 10% of men are fathering children. I don't know how you can do that. I honestly, like, just sitting up there making up stats is definitely wild to me. And the only man who says him, this guy, I don't know him, it's not an endorsement of him. But the only guy who sit up there and says that the man is not the de facto leader is the only one saying that we men should be blamed for what they contribute to the issue. The other two men, literally the other two men who says the men are the leader by virtue of their birth, leadership essentially is men's birthright, is the other two men's position. They're blaming women for how the community turn out. How does that make sense? If you're the leader, how are you blaming everyone for the quote unquote responsibility you have?
You know what I'm saying? Sexual, like, nah, G. What? Bro, what do you mean? So wait, hold on.
Just you tell women to stop.
Hold on, wait, Anton. Let him finish the thought real quick. Let him finish the thought, Anton.
Say that energy, Anton.
Because the reality of the situation is this. A woman can't have a baby without a man. Straight up and down. So to continue to have this conversation and put all of the blame on women as if though we are not contributing to this problem, yeah, I don't agree with that at all. Once again, how's the conversation about masculinity now becoming about what women need to do? How is it that we consistently, as men, when we have this conversation, we drive this conversation into what women need to do? We're talking about men, we're talking about masculinity, and the conversation becomes
okay. Team stats and math, keep them at the home.
about women, we passing the buck. So if we talking about, and that's the reason why I wanted to ask the question earlier in the conversation, what's your definition of the word simp? Because the way that it is, I learned about the definition of the word simp is a man who has no boundaries. It's a man who has lack of control. It's a man who consistently engages with a woman who has no intent of engaging with him at the level that he wants to engage. So once again, how is this conversation? And once again, I don't disagree with community-wide accountability. I don't disagree with that. But how is it that we get to this part, or how is it that we get to this portion of the conversation about men, where we start talking about women? And we talking about men?
You said that everybody needs to take personal responsibility and accountability. And then you start talking about men again. Is it everybody? Or is it just men? That's rhetorical. Don't even worry about that.
No,
I'm gonna answer your question.
Men. The moderators ask what men should do in terms of their masculinity. So why are you pretending like you were talking about women? Like the conversation was about women and Odie turned it into a conversation about men. The conversation is definitely about men. Yeah, we're talking about how these men wear dress and nail polish, and that's the problem with masculinity. The fact that Odie is the man who sat up there and said that women can be leaders and that men, by virtue of men, are not de facto leader. The fact that he's the one who said that, and at the end, he's the one saying men should take responsibility, where the two men who sat up there and said, by virtue of being man, your birthright is that you are the de facto leader. You are the leader. For them to be blaming women for how the community looks is wild, disgusting, and vile work. It is also inconsistent. It is the fact that this man, Odie, Professor Odie, I don't know him. I'm not even trying to be shady. I actually don't know him. And I'm not endorsing him. I don't know if this man, don't know anything about this man. Whatever. And I also disagree with a lot of his takes. But the fact that he is the only one who is thinking about the man's role in creating the child and therefore sharing the blame for whatever community issue we have. And these men are sitting up there like, men are great. We are doing our job after they've concluded that there is a quote unquote crisis in masculinity, right? They've all confirmed that there is a crisis in masculinity. And then when asked, how do you fix this crisis? They say, oh, men are fine. It's women. Women are out of control. But you are the leaders. How is he the only one? How is it? You know what? I'm annoyed. And then you sat up there, this man sat up there and made up some stat. Let me put this back up just so no one forgets. You're going to sit up there saying only 10%. Who sits up there and says only 10% of men are making children? That's not what the stat says. In 0 groups, white, black, Asian, Hispanic origin, there is no group for which only 10% of men are reproducing. What do you mean? Where did they get this lie? And this is not one of them random websites. This is the census. Like, where are they getting this foolishness? The one thing I don't know is, I don't know if Odie, Professor Odie, is conforming his rhetoric and language to make it palatable in this venue. I don't know if he was doing that. And I hope he is, because I'm annoyed too.
Hold on. Because if we're talking about community-based engagement, if we're talking about solutions, in my mind, in the community that I come from, in the culture that I come from, the men deal with the men and the women deal with the women. So if we're gonna have a conversation about what women need to do, I firmly believe that as an Igbo, we leave that conversation to the women.
No, we don't, because the women are not dealing with the women. They're telling them and they're enabling them with bad information. Okay, wait. Let me ask you a question. Because the men by default,
Fellas.
men by default are held accountable by society. If we don't pay child support, hold on. If we don't pay child support, we go to jail.
By whom? By whose decree?
If we don't, hold on.
By whose decree?
By whose decree is a good response, but if women leave their children to go on a trip without supervision, they also go to prison. Everyone is held accountable in the system. That you will remind us that men create a system of patriarchy that upholds itself. Are women subjugating men? Like, I don't know. This is too low level for me. It's not really. I'm using it for content, but it's very low level.
Hold on, Odie.
If we don't pay child support, we go to jail. There are no shelters largely that's made for men. There are shelters that are made for women.
There are male shelters. There are overwhelmingly more women shelters. I think that's what you meant to say. Who are building these shelters now? Can they build more shelters for men? Yeah, they can. Should they? Yes, they should. Do it.
By life. If we don't do what we're supposed to do, there is no sympathy for us. We fail, we suffer, we don't get the girl, we don't get $200, and pass go, we don't get Monopoly, we don't get the railroads, we don't get nothing. You fail, you die, and you go. That's it. Women by default are always women. There are no men that are being pandered to. Women by default are always.
People get on this platform all the time.
Can I finish my
What are you talking about?
Wait, hold on. What platform?
Bro, when I say this platform, I mean social media. People get on social media.
Oh, he's being nice. I mean, this podcast right now that is currently happening, y'all are pandering to men. Yeah.
And pander to men all the time.
They don't. Men just started getting spaces to where they can even get their thoughts off. And when they get their thoughts off, women don't like it and they automatically want to cancel.
Men are just now getting spaces where they can get their thoughts off. Who's been building the system? Y'all sit up there and say men build everything, but men weren't able to speak. In a patriarchy, men weren't able to speak. And I do think the patriarchy poorly affects men, and particular kinds of men who can't live up to patriarchal ideals. I do actually believe that. But when you put all men together and you don't separate them, which is a terrible mistake in a debate, if you as a black man is debating about patriarchy and being subject to patriarchal power in a way that removes your ability to engage meaningfully, you actually have an argument. Once you make all men the focus, you lose all credibility immediately. But to separate black men is to acknowledge subjugation, which I'm assuming some of these men don't want to do.
Matter of fact, I'll go so far as to ask you, what women do you know at a mass scale with large platforms that aren't single baby mamas that's actually holding women accountable?
Multiple.
Oh, name one.
I mean, she delusional, but Shahrazad Ali. There's one. You said name one. There's one. I mean, she dead wrong. I don't know. She's not even holding women accountable. She's just lying to men. So, what is that Muslim lady that they told that she need to fly down in Chicago and stop the crimes? I forgot her name.
Name one.
Jasmine Garden. Straight up. Nah, baby, Jasmine Garden. You wouldn't know because it's not in your purview, brother. But I know.
How do you know what's in my purview?
Brother, do you know who Jasmine Garden is?
I don't.
My point.
That's one person that you named. How do you know
just
what's in
said
my
name
purview?
somebody and I named somebody.
Okay, so you name somebody. So what I'm gonna do is I'm a researcher and I'm a better understander and I'm gonna be open to the possibility that I'm wrong. But the reality is this: women are being pandered to, and I believe that you're being disingenuous by not acknowleding that. Women are being pandered to across the board.
What I'm saying is that men are also pandering to other men. You were talking about.
Yes, they are.
Do you know what the word pander means?
Hold on, wait. All right, guys, now we're talking in circles. So I do want to advance the conversation because now I can't even remember your damn original point, Odie, because I think what were you originally trying to communicate?
Oh, see, this is why I don't like the moderator. When they're getting dragged, when Odie, it is 1, 2, 3, it's 4 of them against this Odie person. And when he's dragging them, the moderators are moderating. Guys, let's move the con. No, you said name one. He named one. Now what about it? People are saying Cynthia G and a lot of people, no, those aren't the women they're talking about. They're not talking about them. They're not talking about them. Because I would agree. I agree. Sin is holding women accountable. I believe that. Tanya TKO, I agree. Yanni, Paris, Chrissy. Yes, I agree. But those aren't the women they're talking about. They're talking about are there women dragging women for no reason is what they're talking about.
You were communicating that essentially we shift the blame from us taking accountability as men to putting it over to women, and we pretty much additionally add to the single baby mothers. We are also a part of the puzzle of the single baby mothers being created, I think was your original point, correct?
My point, in my case in point, why do we always talk about chastity, but we don't talk to men about abstinence?
We absolutely do hold men accountable.
No, we do not.
Bro, the biggest thing that we say on our platform.
The biggest thing we talk about as it relates to men being men is men going out here fucking as many women as they
You're a liar, because as a matter of fact,
big discipline all the time.
Anybody in this chat will tell you.
That's anybody in this chat. That's one population. That's selection bias, my brother. If we're talking about how it is that men identify themselves as men, if we're talking about statistically, it is the domination and the sexual prowess over women. So how is that not constituted to a problem?
Anybody in this chat will tell you that when I have conversations,
that's anybody in the chat.
You're operating in your femininity right now.
He's not operating in his femininity. He told you you cannot use the chat as your reference point because it is selected for a very specific group. He's talking about a cultural dynamic that tells men that the way they prove their masculinity is by sexual conquest when it comes to women. And you keep going back to the chat after he told you not to do that because of selection bias. Why are you sitting up here talking about, oh, you're acting in your femininity? He's preventing you from engaging in the very thing that he told you not to engage in. And he told you why. And then you keep doing it.
Hold on, wait. Hold on.
Because I let you. I listened to what you said until you stopped.
Go ahead, brother.
And now I want to rebut. Right?
Anton, please rebut. And I have a follow-up question. Go ahead.
Anybody in this chat will tell you that when a guy comes up on my platform, or any dude that has ever gotten coaching from me, I go 10 times harder on that guy than I ever have any woman. 10 times harder on these guys. And what I find is that the guys are way more receptive to changing and evolving than women are. Women tend to be hurt, emotional. You
can't say that. Because then I'm going to say, oh, when women come up here, I disagree with them and they're more agreeable even after we disagree than the men who came up here and throw a tantrum. That is called an anecdote, sir. You can't then use it to generalize about womanhood. You can't do that. You literally can't do that.
They want you to speak to their emotions. They want you to talk to them a certain way. But men, we go hard. Like, we push them. We make sure that they get themselves together. We don't let them have any excuses. We hold them accountable because we know that society is not going to have no mercy on them.
It's funny enough, when women come up here, I can be unfiltered, go back and forth, and we continue. When men come up here, I actually have to somehow pretend like what they're saying makes sense. I have to pretend like I have to sit the diatribe about nothing before they can get to even answering a question that I ask. And then when I ask random questions, not even the pushback, people get mad, go start up a stream by themselves and drag me talking about how I'm disingenuous. Look, at the end of one of my stream with an elder man, an elder pastor man, he came on here and we were literally talking. And at the end of the stream, he said, I really enjoyed this conversation. I would like to come back. I like this. This is amazing. Tell me why 2 days later I'm getting clips from my Discord of this man dragging me about how I lied to him, I tricked him, I dog walked him, or kind of foolishness. I'm like, girl, I barely said 2 words. I only asked questions. We can do this. My experience versus your experience is kind of useless. I probably should review that video now. No, I'm being messy. I'm being messy.
It's a different set of rules for guys, and you got to be way better, 10 times better than the people that you compete against in order to be successful. So when we talk to men, it goes without saying that we do the work. But every time that we start to, in your words, hold other people accountable, because accountability go both ways, just because I'm holding him accountable does not mean that you're right. And so we hold women accountable, but then you get emotional about the fact, I'm not talking about you specifically, but men in general, they get emotional when they settle for these women because they think that we're supposed to treat them with kid gloves when the decisions that they're making is so egregious and it's hurting us and it's affecting us in a negative way. So men are held accountable. They do the work and they are girding up and they are becoming better versions of themselves. But I don't see the same thing happening with women.
Okay, so hold off real quick right here. Odie, last statement, please, Anton, let him get it off. This is the last thing. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was done.
Perfect.
My last statement.
What's happening to Odie right now is why I don't debate these dudes. Well, I wouldn't advise you to do. This is 4 people against 1. This is 4 people against 1. And no matter how unbiased the moderators want to be, they're not. They're very disgusting people. All of them, to me, are absolutely disgusting. Even if I didn't agree with Odie, I don't like a pylon. I do not like a pylon. And this is a pylon. And he's dragging all of them. And it's really disgusting. Like, even all 4 of you couldn't put together a brain cell to win a debate. All 4 of y'all couldn't put together a brain cell to win a debate. Really.
It was, once again, if accountability is a 2-way street, and if we're having this conversation, if we're going to talk about chastity, we got to talk about abstinence. In the same way you say, Anton, that on your side of the interwebs, this conversation is going on my side of the interwebs, the conversation looks a lot different. The conversation looks a lot different.
Let me add to that, Odie, because I've had a lot of men on here, come to the platform, and it's interesting because I actually think it's a bit of truth to what Odie's saying, because when I'm thinking about it, you made a good point. Even when you were talking about, like, when you were standing on what you were standing on earlier, especially the biblical principle, you were saying, look, that's
wait. My chat is nice. My chat is the sweetest, most kindest people on the face of this earth. My chat dragged me the other day. Every time I come on, my chat drags me.
Just not going to go in my house. That's demonic. That's something that's just not even of the rule or law when I come to what's black and white, right? And you really can't get mad at black and white. But in some ways, I will admit, even as a man, first of all, I'm very honest about the situation. I have not stopped my run in fornication at all. I'm sexually active. And I can't say that that's right because every time I have sex, I'm at risk of creating one of these households. So I'm a part of it, right? So the reality of the situation is, if we're talking on biblical principle, a lot of times I will say this too as men. I do it all the time. We can cherry pick what's righteous and what works based on our benefit. Because if I'm looking at it from an even-handed perspective, technically, if we're talking biblically, like you were speaking prior in the conversation, we really should not be even putting women at risk in fornication. Because if we did have sex responsibly on our end, that also does lessen the likelihood that these broken homes are created. But we in sex hookup culture, knee deep in the game on both sides. And this is just really is what it is. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, Anton, do we as men have no accountability to
we do have
broken homes?
To sit up there and say you continue to engage in this behavior, one, you are not going to stop this behavior. Two, and now you're asking, don't we as men have accountability? Sir, you are the problem. You, I don't care. I am not giving credit for honesty. No, you're the problem. You are the problem.
See, for example, the first time that you and I ever even spoke on the phone, I was digging into you.
Pause.
You know what I mean?
Give new no, too easy. We know what he meant. We're not doing that. I shouldn't have laughed. I should not have laughed. Nope. Don't do that. Don't. Let's try. Actually, let's backtrack and just be adults. Nope, don't do it. Please don't do it in the chat. That was my bad.
No.
Yeah, that delay was serious. I said,
Go ahead.
We grown men, and so I don't have to say pause because I'm very
good.
You know what I'm saying? We grown men, but the fact of the matter is, I was digging in, and I was making sure that I pushed you and held you accountable, and I was giving you the game and making sure that you understood what it took in order to be successful in several different areas, and using myself as an example of my own wife. And that was the conversation that we had. The first time that me and you talked, that was the conversation. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with women. It had nothing to do with holding women accountable or anything like that. And so we are working and we are holding each other accountable. And that's my job as your brother. If we have a relationship offline or online, that's my job to push you and it's your job to push me. We do that. That's already happening across the board. I don't let you get away with saying, yeah, man, I'm just out here fornicating. You know that ain't gonna fly with me. That don't fly.
Wait, what do you mean that don't fly? He literally just said, I am doing it. I will continue to do it and I won't stop. And you said you were digging into him when y'all first talk, and that doesn't fly with you. Are y'all friends? Oh, y'all are friends, but he's fornicating. And you said it doesn't fly with you, but he's doing it. And there's nothing you can do to stop him. Things aren't meeting. 1 + 1 is not equaling 2 right now, and that's a problem. Who invented math? What Fresh said, who invented math? Who decided that 1 + 1 is 2? Girl, this don't make no sense. Like this literally makes no sense. This man literally just said, I sleep with women, I won't stop sleeping with women, I know it's wrong and I'm gonna do it. You say, I am your friend. The first time we talk, I told you not to do it. And I don't hang around with people who do it. I don't abide people sleeping with people outside of a marriage. But he's doing it and he won't stop doing it. But none of your friends.
And so when we did
Anton,
extend the conversation,
this is the thing though. This is the thing, Anton. Everybody don't have a brother like you and me. It's just like it's a lot of toxic ass women that got women giving them toxic feet.
What do you mean everyone don't have a brother like you and Anton? You just said, sir, that you will continue to do what he's telling you not to do. And he said he doesn't hang around people who do what you do, and you won't stop doing what you said. Trash. I'm done. I don't care. Actually, let's hear. I'm struggling. Let's hear the rest. Not the full thing, but the rest of the section.
Feedback. It's the same thing that happens amongst men as well. Like everybody don't got a brother that's gonna put them on game on money. Everybody don't got a brother that's gonna put them up on game on morality and ethics. A lot of us have brothers out here, and bro, you in Detroit, you know what's going down. Like we got like player culture is promoted. So like we are not all necessarily having those same communities hold us accountable on both ends of the spectrum. So a lot of us are lacking the brotherhood that you're speaking on, which is.
But you know better, and you're still doing it. So what difference do it make?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a dog. I'm an anomaly.
Exactly. So now every guy's an anomaly. Every guy's an anomaly.
Right? You know what? Let me back up. You said I know better, and I'm still doing it.
Correct.
100%. Now the thing about it is, I at least acknowledge I know what I'm doing is wrong, and I promise you, Anton, I have no intentions on staying here.
But Ty,
do you think it's better to know what you're doing is wrong and still do it, or to not know that what you engage in is wrong while doing it? Because I'm going to go out and say, I will give a pass. I'm not giving a pass to anyone, but I would feel more comfortable giving a pass to someone who is doing something bad in ignorance than someone who is fully aware that what they did is bad and they continue to do it. Like when you... I am done. All of these people disgusting and toxic, and they know, like, the whole... Sorry. I should not be getting worked up over this. We all already know how these people are. And I'm not about to sit here and get worked up over foolishness. He wants to separate himself from other men while saying he's a dog and that he's not going to stay down there forever. He knows what he's doing is wrong. You're going to punctuate that mess by saying, at least you know what you're doing is wrong and you're willing to admit it, while other people are doing it, but they don't know what they do is wrong, and you think that is what now? Amaya, welcome back to the membership. Thank you so much. Destiny, welcome to the membership. I appreciate this so much. I'm going into the after show because I don't got time. I'm over it. I'm done with this. I don't expect you to be smart. I don't expect you to know everything. I don't expect you to do like deep rigor when you come online, but at least be thoughtful. At least be thoughtful. It does not feel like these people are thinking through these ideas. Like, I don't understand how you can sit up there and just be this idiotic. Like, that don't make no sense. Like, even if you like don't actually care and you're just there to make money or whatever, it's like, I just assume everyone like do the bare minimum of like maybe a little research. Like, I don't expect you again to know everything and do everything in terms of research, but to just come up here and talk and do nothing. Like, they had Shahrazad Ali on there, and none of them asked her about her promoting domestic abuse. None, like that doesn't come up. And I think it didn't come up because they didn't read the book. And I'm not saying you need to read all the book, but to sit up there and pretend that like you read the book is wild to me. To have her contradict herself the entire time and you not pointing out any of it or not engaging at all with what she said is wild. To sit up here, because what they wanted, it looks like Professor Odie was the odd man out. It looks like they oppose Professor Odie. The fact that he stands with like gay rights, it seems. I don't know this man, I'm assuming from what he says. It looks like they wanted to debate him. Ren and Stimpy. It looks like Ren and Stimpy, it looks like Pinky and the Brain wanted to debate Professor Odie, but they were too afraid to do it. So they got their minions, Coach and guy with beard and hat, to come on. They got Phantom Follicles and the other guy to come on. And so it's 4 against 1 because they were too weak to sit up there and debate this man on his ideas themselves. They got 2 other men to come do it, and then they engaged in the debate. That is disgusting to me. If you have something to say, call the man up and argue with him. If you have to get 2 other men to hide behind those 2 other men so that they can challenge Professor Odie, you're a wannabe to me. Like, what do you mean? You're afraid? over the internet to call someone up and say, hey, I disagree with you. Here's what I disagree with. Let's discuss it. You're afraid to do that? Your ego is that fragile. Your audience is that fragile. Look, if someone came up here and told me I was wrong and I learned in the moment that I'm wrong, please note there is no bubble that I've created so strong that will prevent me from conceding. You know what? I didn't think about that. Maybe I'm wrong. If that destroys the channel, I will destroy the channel for the sake of my integrity. What do you mean? These men just sat up there, got dragged. All four of them got dragged by Professor Odie. And the only reason why their audience probably thought they won is because they're homophobic. That is the only reason. You can't be costing the government $50 billion. We have a prison industrial complex to think about. The literacy rate is just disgusting. Like, we literally have an unemployment rate that is staggering. I am not going to sit here and listen to you tell me that the problem with Black masculinity is that Black men are painting their nails and wearing dresses. I am sorry, until we start developing infrastructure, reading at higher than a third grade level, going to university, figuring out the prison system, unless we start doing that, getting employees, starting businesses, I'm not about to sit here and listen to you tell me that the problem with Black masculinity is nail polish. So we just gonna ignore white supremacy. We just gonna completely ignore white supremacy, and we gonna say the biggest issue facing Black men is not the homicide rate, mind you. It is that Black men are wearing nail polish. That's what you want me to think. I don't know who this Odie person is. I am not vouching for him. Please don't take this as an endorsement in any way, because I don't know who this person is. However, his performance was way superior to all of these men who ganged up on him. You should debate them. I would never. I would never. I would never. I would absolutely never. I don't like weaselly people. If you said something and you did something, stand in it. I do not like weasels. I don't like people who like run. These are the type of people who, if you're in their presence and they feel like they could fight you, they would. It's what Myron wanted to do with Ethan. That's the kind of vibe they get. Their masculinity is tied to their ability to exert dominance, which is wild. Not only is that wild, they're also cowards. They're also cowards. I also saw they did a similar thing where whenever they want to debate someone who they think is smart, they usually don't do it with women, right? They'll bring in a woman and try to question her. But when it comes to a man that they disagree with, instead of bringing the man on and arguing with the man from their perspective, they'll bring in a team. They will get the G4. Yeah, they will call in their talent, their group to come there to defend them and fight with them and for them. Oh, I enjoy you. Thank you for being a member for 9 months, the Front Porch Gardener. I truly appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you. Finally, I was saving this comment because I really wanted this guy to come up. My point is, Black women only seem to be okay with other groups of men being leaders, but do not like the idea of Black men being leaders. Y'all only have an issue of male leadership when it comes to Black men. I really, really wanted this man to come up because I wanted to ask him why he believed this. I wanted him to do some really deep introspection on this statement, and unfortunately, he didn't come up. But yeah, have a wonderful night. I don't know how there's still 800 people in here. You all are wonderful. I appreciate y'all allowing me to vent. It is 12 where I am. I still have work to go do. So I'm going to do that because I have a bunch of scarcity left. And I will see you all on Friday. I'm going to try to open the panel up so we can talk. I really do actually appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye. 12 midnight.